What's up? What's up, and welcome back to the channel. You were listening to Ninja Night. This is Chatterbox number 25. Welcome back on a lovely Friday night. It's great to see everybody here. You can see already there's about 40 people in the chat. Thanks very much to everybody that jumps in here and watches on the live. Thanks to everybody that watches after the fact. The last stream is doing really well as well in terms of numbers. I have to be honest with you, it's incredible to see the stream get over 2,000 views. It's unreal, and it seems to be quite consecutive. It keeps going in and around the 2,000 mark, and I'm very happy with that. Listen, I was always very happy when there was about 10 people watching, let alone have 2,000 views on a live stream. That's just unbelievable. And thanks to everybody as well, by the way. An awful lot of people here in the comments. I can't thank you all individually, otherwise I'd be here all night. But people that comment after the fact and all and tell me how much they enjoyed the show and how much they enjoyed the chat and that they feel a lot better about it and wishing me a nice weekend and wishing my family all the best. Like, honest to God, I mean that when I say that. I so much so appreciate that. It's mind blowing. It really is. And I think that's a large case as to why I think we all are here as we are. I think a lot of people now have had things happen in their own lives in terms of family and friends and all that. And then this little community has gotten itself together, and it's great to see members of the community getting together in real life as well and sharing obviously a few drinks and a good time, and some more than others. Obviously not going to go too much into that, but it's great to see people coming together, and it's just awesome. It's awesome to think that. I think that's the most important thing, and something that I'm going to highlight again and again tonight is that the online world and indeed the internet has caused a big effect. I think that a lot of these people that have planned, and I mean, look, they've said as much as well too on TV and various other things, that their plans have been more or less thwarted at this stage. Now, my standing in this whole thing is this: we have thwarted that, and it's only going to be bad outcomes for these people because, please God, people start running for positions and getting into those positions and start holding these people accountable. I thought it was interesting during the week. I saw Paul Murphy on Twitter, and he was talking some common sense. He was talking about bin charges, and he was talking about the likes of local property tax and all that. And I was like, wow, it seems like the radical ideology that this guy has been spouting for the last while doesn't seem to have caught on with people. But I tell you what's starting to catch on with people. People are like, yeah, I don't think those bin taxes are good at all. I don't think those house property taxes are good either. So this is what they'll always get people with, by the way. Don't forget that. These people have shown you who they are and what they are, and they will consistently and constantly do that, and they have done so. So don't forget that. It's very important now that at this stage of the game, there are massive alternatives, and I think that that's going to start moving its way on, I think, ahead. Look, I'm under no illusion that there's people that are still in this country, and quite a considerable amount of people that believe in what's gone on and still believe in what's gone on. And you saw it there with the media nonsense there last week when old Joe came over from America. Well, something I just thought when I was looking at the whole thing was the fawning that was done by politicians and media. That doesn't surprise me. Listen, these people, you know what I think of these people in the media and in politics. I don't think very highly of them. And when I saw them fawning over Joe, and not 2 days later, was it? They were talking about a housing situation that the Irish people were under. And there was about 15 people, I think it was, in the Dáil. That was packed to the brim for Joe. For a guy that's as senile as someone in a care home, and that is, in my opinion, and the opinion of an awful lot of other people, a complete and utter Greedo from Star Wars, along with his son, running around Ireland, patting people on the head and saying, yeah, it's great, we beat the Black and Tans in the rugby. Like, the offense that was happening there, that's just something else. And then you had Micheál Martin then hanging around him like a bad smell. Like, it's unbelievable. But to me, it just served to wake people up further again and again and again. And I met and talked to a lot of people over the last week or so and said to them about that and showed them images and videos and stuff like that. And they couldn't believe it. They were saying to themselves, oh my God. What people are starting to realize now, and I think what's important to notice, is that your media, particularly when it's coming from the mainstream, is completely and utterly curated. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I know when I put videos out and I put streams together and stuff like that, obviously there is a curation that goes on. And that's why this channel is as wild as it is. I mean, I have a Power Rangers video coming out very soon. But that video is pertaining to politics and the real world also. So that's why the channel is what it is, and it goes as it is. I've contemplated over the last couple of weeks whether I should do one thing on this channel or whether I should just keep doing multiple things. The multiple things to me just are interesting, but I do understand when people tune in and say, hey, I didn't know what this is about and I'm not into that. I get that. And look, it is what it is. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I just really appreciate the support. That's what I'm saying here. I appreciate people as well too that like, share, subscribe, that are commenting, that are, you know, checking out the links down below. Follow me on different social medias as well too. The support that I'm getting as well too. Thanks to the members. A big special thank you as well too to the moderators. And I just really appreciate it. You know, I'm feeling the love here now and want to give the love back. Okay, so this week we'll be talking about a couple of different things. Now, this week I got into a bit of a rabbit hole. I got into this this Earth business, you know, when they're saying that it's flat and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, you know what, man, if I was that way inclined, you'd get into it and you'd talk about it all the time. Now, a couple of people I found was interesting online, even on social media. I'm not claiming that the Earth is that way. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is I think it's interesting, and I'm just humouring the thought and the conversation around it is all that I was doing. And some people were just really in on it. They were like, hang on here for a second, you can't talk about that. And I was like, well, hang on, let's just be open-minded here and let's look at what's happened over the last few years. We currently live in a moment in time where there's men running around saying they're women. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that that's too out of the realm of possibilities. Never mind, by the way, there was a certain operation that was done after, shall we say, 1930s, 1940s, pertains to something called paperclip. You should have a look into that, is all I'm saying. And see who moved from the likes of Germany to America and to Russia. All I'm saying is, what I'm starting to do now is I'm starting to look back at times in history and go, I'm not really sure about that at all. Now, if I'm not sure about that, I don't know what else I'm sure about. There's another thing I would ask you to have a look at. And I'm just, again, these are all things that I'm just saying, have a look at yourself, see what you think. I'm not claiming anything here at all. What I'm saying is, have a look at the Antarctic Treaty. Countries that can't agree on anything have signed up to that treaty. I think it's from the 1950s. Now, there was another guy I was looking at on YouTube. This is just out there stuff, by the way. I like to talk about that sometimes. 1950s dictionaries, by the way, used to have the Antarctic written as something completely different as to what it's written now. I think they changed it in 1955 or 1956, and it's dramatically different. Now, nobody can go to the Antarctic, but I watched a movie recently. Now, again, this is all I'm saying to you is have a look or whatever. But I looked at a movie recently, Godzilla versus Kong, the new one that was out there, and they do something in that movie that I was like, that's what people described in around the Antarctic before governments got together and were like, no, you can't go there. Now, to me, when you see collusion like that, I'm like, well, there's something up there, there's something going on, anyway, for sure. The Pentagon came out in the last, 24 hours, 28, maybe 20, 24 to 48 hours. And we're like, yeah, by the way, guys, the UFOs are real. We're putting footage out there. I was like, holy moly, this is the next thing, is it? But they keep kind of teasing this thing out, by the way. They teased it out. I think they teased it out in 2021. They teased it out in 2022, like real confirmation. And then now they're like, no, totally, this stuff is happening. Prepare for an invasion, guys. Could you imagine the boys landing on this planet? What's going on? Will we invade it? No, let's just have a laugh for it. This planet is clown-shaped. People talk about it being flat. I'd be like, no, it's clown-shaped. So anyway, we'll get into it tonight and we'll have a look at some of the stories, again, pertaining to the real world, obviously. There was some interesting stuff that happened, but nothing more interesting, I think, than some of the media fallout of what's gone on in stories coming out and in stories being buried within 24 hours. Honest to God, it's very impressive. It really is very impressive with how they can talk about things. Like the Jeffrey thing, and in particular when it comes out about that island, people are like, isn't it amazing how they squashed that story in 24 hours and they don't talk about it? They won't talk about it at all. But I'll tell you what the media will talk about. They'll talk about Lee Chin. They'll talk about him being called a very naughty name. Very naughty. Have they been publishing an awful lot of what Elon Musk has been saying? No, not at all. Have they been publishing those 4 immigrants that attacked that man in Galway, the Irish lads? No, they didn't publish that really much at all, did they? They talked about it, yeah. Or were they on about it, harping on about it 24/7? No, not at all. Strange, isn't it? But that's the social media world now, and indeed, it is the online world where this information is instantly accessible. And it has been shared amongst many people, and it is really out of hand for the people that are running the show. I think this is a big difference. I talk to people that are older than me all the time, and they're like, well, things are just going to keep rocking on. And I'm like, I don't know about you, but I definitely feel a shift in things, and I feel a shift in even normies and people that bought into the last couple of years where they're like, I don't believe anything anymore. And I'm like, Right, that's interesting. But I tell you what, you need to be hopeful as well too. There's a lot of people out there that'll be going black pilled and they'll be like, "Oh, I feel down and all that." Don't feel that way. They're hoping you will. You got to keep on the side of hope. I'm a very optimistic and happy person. I've got to tell you that. That's how you have to be. That's why I also talk about action figures and other nonsense. By the way, it keeps me happy. So I jump into the chat first before we get into a couple of stories. As you know as well, if you have anything to say to me, 11 minutes in now, so maybe a bit late, but better late than never. If you have anything to say, at Ninja Knight in the chat, and I'll get through to it. Hopefully, the chat is growing as well too, so bear with me with things. Sometimes I won't get to your chat every single time, and I'm looking at time constraints as well too, because obviously when the stream is hitting 3 hours or 4 hours, I'm like, this is nightmare fuel for people looking in at this. If they're looking at it going 3 hours, yikes. So I like to try and keep it a bit condensed. Anyway, I shall move on. Sean Max says, good evening, Ninja. Good to see you here. Irish Red says, evening, Ninja and fellow Patriots. Good to see you here. Emmanuel Godson's in says, hey, fellas. Saladin says, how are you, lads? Good to see you here now. Emmanuel Godson's talking about his dinner. Frank Barnon's in here, says, went to the SW office 2 days ago. There was blue and yellow flag waving people in the queue ahead of me. He said to the teller about going back to the blue and yellow flag waving country for 3 months. The teller said, you'll get your money if you're 1 month or less away. Isn't that nice? Went there for medical reasons, which reminds me of people living near the office selling all sorts in such a blatant way. I couldn't believe it. It's starting to really hit home for people now, where there's these people that are going away out of this country, going on holidays, and they're returning. And I've gotten many stories sent to me. Again, obviously, I don't share anything as much as possible unless it's confirmed. And some of the stories that have been shared to me with people, and I mean, it's on Facebook groups as well too, of people landing into the place, getting freebies, and then heading on back, and people are going, sure, where are you going? And then they come back, oh, I was on holidays. Absolutely unreal stuff. We've got people sending in already. We've got Hair Bear Ryan says a 10. Says, who treaty on the way? Hope a lot more people don't comply. Yeah, for sure. There's another thing as well, by the way, that I'm going to talk about this evening. The old boy was sharing it with me and he was telling me about it. So this is like game on at this point in time, I'd say. Grim Sense 5 says, bigs up, Ninja. Good to see you here. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Really appreciate that, guys. So we'll get into that story. Like, that's literally the 4th story I'm going to get into tonight. Letitia Logan says, evening all. Lord Tot says, hi everyone. Lord Tot there from Canada. God, my God, what's going on in Canada is absolutely outrageous. Did you see the Parliament, by the way? There was fellas running around in the Parliament in Canada in high heels. They were like, this is to stop domestics with women. What? Like, Canada, like, lads, Canada's lost. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? Some other stuff as well too. Pertaining to the Gardaí tonight and passports and stuff. We can see that in the chat there as well too. And another funny thing that happened this week as well with the Gardaí, I'll show you. Well, I should say the Twitter account. Jan Curtis says, hi and good evening, Ninja Night, and all hope all as well. Thanks very much. Much appreciated there that you're in here, Leon. Thanks again, like I said, to the mods. Thanks to Scottish for you listening back. Evening all. Good to see you in here. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Top cars as well too. Leanne stated about these people driving around. Yeah, there's some cars, and a lot of people are getting the cars and they're putting up the price of said cars online. Like, that's a 50 grand car. All these people are riding the best of clobber, by the way. Don't forget that. And they're all very well fed looking too. You can book hotels across back where they came from as well too. I find that to be very interesting. What do you reckon, guys? You know, let's have a look now through the chat and see how things are going. Everyone's in here 7:33. I think I was on time today. Was I on time 7:43 or was I 7:45? Davek says, howdy boys and girls, good to see you here. Triple H in here as well too. Vaughn Malone says, Ninja Night, there was a time when men didn't beg, even people of a certain community that like to travel sent the women out. Now the streets have all these foreign dudes begging. Absolutely, 100% they do, yeah. There's all sorts of fellas going around. Steve Dixon says, you deserve everyone, Ninja. Thanks very much. Letitia Logan says, we miss you, Ninja. Thank you very much indeed. Frank Barnes says, fair play, Ninja. Herbert Ryan says, hello, Ninja, and everyone in live chat and mods. Good to see you here. Laser Pants is in here, says, hey, Ninja Night, I'm at work listening in. Thanks very much. Probably, is this your 4th stream, Laser Pants? Welcome to the club, because this gets wild. This gets out there. Just come to let you know. This talks about world events. This isn't really so much a toy stream, just letting you know. But anyway, I have a Power Ranger video coming, Laser Pants, so I'll let you know about that. Thanks for coming in anyway. Laser Pants does a great podcast called The 3POA. If you're into action figures and various different talking points he talk about on his live stream, I really like it. I enjoy it. And he's bringing a lot of guys on in particular. Just want to, as a little bit of a segue here, He's bringing guys onto his channel that are starting up their own toy companies. So they're stepping away from Hasbro, Mattel, and all these other companies that are deciding to go full in on this woke stuff, and they're setting up their own stuff. One thing that I'm following is Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Have a look at that. Great stuff that's been done there. Really, really good. There's another one that came out there, Savage Crucible, looks good as well. And a lot of the lads that are running these things are really, really good speakers, and they're, I think the 3POA with Bobby Vala versus doing his own thing as well. He used to work at Hasbro, he's doing his own thing and pertaining to mostly army characters. It looks fantastic. And then you've got Analog Toys that's in there as well too, former serviceman himself. And he talks about different things with toys. It's fantastic. Great podcast, I have to say. So let's keep going here through the chat. Let's keep moving. What's happening here? We're all good. Okay, right. Well, what we'll do is we'll jump into the first story that I have this evening. We've got 121 in here tonight. That's unreal stuff there is. Thanks, guys. So the first story that was sent to me today, and this was just after catching it in the chat. Sean Max says Joe was sniffing Mihal's comb over. Ragnar Iron Spear says my Rumble link doesn't work. I'm getting on the Rumble thing ASAP. The Rumble problem at the moment is that the channel that was there, I think what I did was I made a mess of it. I thought that when you go on to Rumble and you look at the username that was it. But what has happened is, and has transpired, I found out that the channel has to be separate from the username or something like that. And anyway, they're going to be letting you live stream over there. So that's going to be real important. I'll probably do some live streams over there, especially when I can talk about things more freely over there rather than here. So anyway, this is the first story up. My old boy was saying this to me and I was just like, whoa, that's not good whatsoever. So the EU, this comes from the telegraph.co.uk. Now, obviously, I'm in Ireland as well too. Anybody that's out there that's listening from a different country, if you're in America or Canada, that Ireland is not part of the UK. Northern Ireland is, but the Republic of Ireland is not. So just so you know, just letting you know. But telegraph.co.uk put this out. There's about 5 articles that I've seen online. Now, this was slipped out through a physical paper as well. So this has been put into the paper. It's been put to like page, I think, 15. So it's not even on page 1 or anything like that. This is a cause for concern. What's been happening and what some people have been saying online as well is Trump had said it himself a number of years ago when he was talking about America in the Middle East, and he's like, they're going over there, destabilizing these places, and these people are wafting across then into the likes of Europe and that. And he's just like, this is good for criminals, he said. He said, obviously, and I mean, again, I feel the same way. If someone is in a country and there's issues there, and they're obviously a big problem when it comes to certain machinery, would say, landing on your shores and stuff like that. But that's understandable. However, that's part of the problem insofar as when these things land on the shores, these people are getting out and the criminals that are there are like, happy days, lads, we're going too, because we can all claim it. And that's what's happening. I mean, you're seeing an awful lot of it here now in Ireland. This is only the beginning of it. But what's also an issue and something that people have been talking about is that there's fellas that are arriving here on these shores, predominantly fellas, by the way, not an awful lot of women and children, which is something, this is the caveat of what had been said to us, that there'll be women and children arriving. A lot of them are not. They're running around army barracks. They're staying in certain places as well too. The Gardaí are driving recruitments now in foreign languages, which is not good. And now you have this here that comes from the Telegraph. The EU plan to create a commando unit for new rapid reaction force. This to me, again, I said it and it might sound out there, but this sounds like George Lucas's Star Wars, lads. You know what I mean? Like it's it seems like he had a very good idea as to what the plan was, and it seems like to me, I suppose if you looked at it that way, Disney might have been like, listen, we're going to yoink this off you before you send any more messages that may mess up our plans. Why would they need this? Why did they know that? Like, these are the same groups, by the way, telling you that you don't need any boomsticks or anything like that. This group are telling the Americans they're very naughty for having boomsticks. The only reason why the globe isn't under a current and total complete lockdown is because the Americans have boomsticks. A lot of people don't know that. They don't seem to understand that. They seem to say, oh, that's a bad thing. No, it's not. Because if stuff gets real out here, these guys that are over in America, that's why they couldn't mess around with them. And I mean, servicemen have said that themselves. They're like, the average person outnumbers us 100 to 1. But when you see situations like this, and you see some of the other things that are going on, which is the policing of people's speech and stuff like that, these are going to start getting out there. Proposals aim to create 5,000 strong land, air, and maritime force that could be deployed quickly to intervene anywhere in the world. what's this, Thunderbirds? Is this Team America or something like that? America's not even involved in calling Team America. But you get the point. Why are these people going to be then flown into different places around the world, and to do what? And 5,000 of them? Like, I don't know about you, certainly, guys, but when you look at the Defence Forces here in Ireland, most people would say is a bit of a laugh and a bit of a joke and all that. And look, that's not to disrespect the Defence Force or anything like that. A lot of people say that. This is a different ballgame, though. These are talking about commandos. These are real dudes. Like, these are serious individuals. And they're talking about putting these together. I mean, this smacks of something that's like, I don't know, like Transformers Age of Extinction or something like that, when that cemetery wind gets put together. You know what I mean? This is what this smells like to me. And I'm like, that's not good, because these people, especially from this agency in the EU, are completely out there. The EU is completely out of control. Way out of control. So much so that there was a guy, I can't think of his name, Gettr or something like that was putting up ultimatums during the week. He's an Austrian dude, as far as I know, and was just like, Ireland best do this or they're out of the EU. I was like, your terms are acceptable. No problem. What do you want out? Look at our waters. Our waters are being overfished. And an awful lot of the produce then that fishermen used to be able to earn off of, they're not able to earn off of anymore. And this is before you look at the inflation that's happening here in this country. I have an article down about it below, and the article is talking about the inflation in supermarkets. Just as an aside, and I suppose it's related to what I'm saying here, a 20-pack of Coca-Cola is 19 euros now. A 24-pack of Diet Cokes is 18 euros. There was a time when they used to be 10. There was a time when they used to be 12. Now you're getting them for specials of 12 euro and 14 euro. These things have doubled in price. That's 100% increase. But very nearly 100% increase, because it will get there, best believe that. Ice cream the same as well. Have a look at some of the ice creams around the local shops as well too, in the likes of Tesco and all that. 7 euro some of them are. And the Tesco own brand is creeping up too. I was having a look at the Tesco own brand during the week, and it's gone up to 2.35 or something like that. Like, this is outrageous stuff. 2.35 is what you would have been looking at for a premium ice cream not too long ago. The Tesco's one was always usually around 99 cents, a euro maybe. But it's over 100% increase now on these things. Now, I know what people say in the chat, and I'm very aware of that. They say, well, less junk food is good for you. I agree. But when you have produce like those that are going up, well, that means that your healthy produce is going to go up as well. Your steak, your chicken. And they're going to use that then to inflate the other things. So that's lessening your money, because it's constantly about lessening your money. I mean, imagine the fact that they're telling you openly that inflation has grown over 12% now at this stage of the game, to give people a 6% increase in their money, and pensioners a 2.5% increase in their money, and people are looking and going, oh yeah, Grant, you're being fleeced. You were being fleeced. Not a lot of people know this, and I'm going to talk about it right now. Sales tax. So you were being taxed on the sale of what you purchased here in Ireland. Ireland is way more sneaky than America. You see, this is the difference between us and America. At least Americans are upfront about this. When they go, okay, say for example, now it used to peeve me, but to be honest with you, you could really get your value and understand things much easier, I find. You go to America and you'd say, okay, you can buy a bag of sweets, we'll just say for $9.99. And then you hit the register and they're like, okay, there's a $2 increase, we'll just say. And you go, what the heck is that? And you go, it's the sales tax. So that's grand. Ireland is sneakier. Ireland, what they do is they factor it into the price. So when you then actually look at the breakdown, because you can in certain shops, you can see the sales tax. Oh, it's massive. It is huge. Like, it's actually unbelievable. And these are the type of things that are going on. So you're, just bear with me again. You're working. Your money's been taxed. You're then being taxed with the TV license, because RTE now are telling the government, this is another thing I have a problem with Twitter at the moment, I suppose. They've labelled RTE publicly funded. Hang on, guys. Is RTE not funded by the public because the government threatened the people with fines and imprisonment if they don't pay the TV license? Is that not the case? And in the last week, RTE are like, I think there should be a compulsory tax. So another tax to keep that gang funded. Like, you have an awful lot of leftists that arrive onto the channel, or they will at me and be like, oh my God, I can't believe that you have links and all that. And like, nobody's forced to do anything here. Nobody's forced to do anything. Everything's happy days. But you guys are actually simping for a company that is forcefully taking money off people and threatening people with imprisonment or fines if they don't do it. Like, that to me doesn't seem like it's publicly funded. That's all I'm saying. So you are going to work, you're being taxed on that money, then you're coming home, you're being taxed on your property, you're being taxed for the likes of your bins, you're being taxed with the car, you're being taxed as well with your shopping. So you're being constantly fleeced with all these things. So you're looking at it and going, hang on here for a second. And this is the point in time that we're at now. A lot of people are starting to realize and go, wait, I'm paying through the nose in taxes. I can't get a bin. I'm finding it difficult to buy a house. I'm finding it difficult to put up rent. And then you look across the road and you see Kalechi and the lads waving at you. Hey, how are you getting on? Where are you lads from? Somalia, Nigeria, Georgia, Albania. That's the story. Problems in our country, guys. You know, you're looking at them going, this is what you're working for. Now we've enough problems. This is all I'm saying. We've enough problems without importing more. That's what I constantly say. So let's jump into this now. This is one of the most phenomenal things that I've ever seen, and this is just to show you what's going on in, I suppose, their realm. What do I mean by that? Elon Musk is a billionaire. Now, Jeff Bezos and a couple of other people were very unhappy with the last couple of years. Now, Jeff Bezos, not so much, because, I mean, Amazon's profits just went through the roof, and they're continuing to do so as far as I know. However, with all of the inflation that's going on, that is going to increase their products. So he's not going to be completely delighted with that, because that means less money for them. Of course, they just raised their prices. So to him, probably not a big deal. Elon Musk, on the other hand, has bought a social media company in Twitter that was up to all sorts of nonsense, has outed an awful lot of things that were going on there when it comes to people that were formerly there meeting with three-lettered agencies that were telling them what to do and curating what could be on the site. So, as such, no free speech. And then we're actively drilling towards people and saying, this is what you can see and this is the information that you're going to know. So to me, if you don't have a full picture, then I don't think you can come to a logical conclusion as to what's gone on here. Like, think about it like this. Last week, Joe was running around Ireland with Hunter, and there was people that were guarding them in uniform. Everyone knows what Hunter was up to if you're in the social media world. Everyone knows. But the average normie doesn't. The average normie would still look back at and say, oh, Donald makes me so angry. If you think Donald makes you angry, have a look and see what your man that's currently running the show is doing, and what he has done in the past, and what his children have said about him, his own son and his own daughter. So I don't know about you, but that's part and parcel of the problem that we live in. We live in a world that just tells lies, and it gets very offended at the truth. And I suppose, because he's in the chat there as well too earlier on, Larry Pants will attest to that as well, because he's someone that's in the toy community that tells the truth, along with the other people that are on this 3POA, the 3POA podcast, and they talk about the truth. Orbital Bacon that comes in here as well too, talking about Transformers, telling the truth as well. So the truth is starting to come back, and it's making a massive comeback now, which is great to see. But it's thanks to you, first and foremost, because you have pushed guys like Elon Musk into buying this company that have seen what's gone on, and he's now done a Twitter Spaces. This is what this is called. This guy is a reporter from the BBC, and on the phone, what you can do here is you can basically do a chat between multiple people. Toby, that does be in here in the chat, is becoming well known on Twitter for doing Twitter Spaces over there, and he is talking. And I've been on the Twitter Space before as well. And you're talking to about like 100 people perhaps at some times. And this is a great thing. But it also shows you then how your media...
I would only just...
Sorry there, I pressed that too early. How your media has behaved and what has done over the last few years. So let's have a look at this.
Add that, we have spoken to people who have... We've spoken to somebody who... There's not enough this stuff, particularly around hate speech in the company.
What hate speech are you talking about? I mean, you use Twitter,
right?
Do you see a rise in hate speech?
I mean,
just a personal anecdote. Like, what do you do? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content. Yeah, personally, but I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
You see more hate speech personally.
I would say I would see more hateful content in that in that.
Content you don't like or hateful? What do you mean to describe a hateful thing?
Yeah, I mean, just content that will solicit a reaction, something that may include something that is slightly racist or slightly sexist, those kinds of things.
So you think if something is slightly sexist, it should be banned?
No,
is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand what you mean by hateful content. I'm asking for specific examples. And you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, you've asked me whether my feed, whether it's got less or more. I'd say it's got slightly more.
That's why I'm asking for examples. Can you name one example?
I honestly don't use. Honestly, I
you
don't.
can't name a single example.
I'll tell you why. Because I don't actually use that for you feed anymore because I just don't particularly like it.
But you
and
said
actually, a lot of people are quite similar. I only look at
hang on a second.
my
You said you've seen more hateful content, but you can't name a single example, not even one.
I'm not sure I've used that feed for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And
then how did you see that hateful content?
Because I've been using Twitter since you've taken it over for the last 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying
I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed.
You just lied.
What I claimed was there are many organizations that say that kind of information is on the rise. Now, whether it has on my feed or not, I mean, I literally can't name something like the Strategic Dialogue Institute in the UK. They will say that. So
look, people will say all sorts of nonsense. I'm literally asking for a single example, and you can't name one.
Right, and as I've already said, I don't use that feed. But
then how would you know?
I don't think this is getting anywhere.
You literally said you experienced more hateful content, and then couldn't name a single example.
Right, and as I said,
that's absurd.
I haven't actually looked at that feed.
Then how would you know this hateful content?
Because I'm saying that's what I saw a few weeks ago. I can't give you an exact example. Let's move on. We only have a certain amount of time. COVID misinformation. You changed the COVID misinformation.
Has
rules.
BBC changed its COVID misinformation?
The BBC does not set the rules on Twitter, so I'm asking you.
No, I'm talking about the BBC's misinformation about COVID.
I'm literally asking you about, you changed the labels, the COVID misinformation labels. There used to be a policy, and then it disappeared. Why do that?
Okay, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations, and not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, you thought it wasn't?
And I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear. Let's talk about something else. You want to talk about the BBC? All right, let's talk about something else.
You weren't expecting that.
Let's talk about something else.
Now, that was one of the most fascinating conversations I've ever seen, to be honest with you, because again, you're talking about a billionaire here that's very aware as to what's going on and has personal experience himself. I mean, look, I have my own personal experience, and obviously you can say I'm biased and everything like that. But Elon is someone that has regularly talked about him taking it himself and go to plants, I think, in the likes of Germany or whatever like that, and then has seen through it and said to himself, hang on here for a second, this doesn't all add up to me. And he is now doing something about it. To have a BBC journalist in front of him behaving like that is amazing. And it just shows you, and it's something that I constantly say, when I see the likes of Philip Dwyer, I see Satirical Soldier, Derek Bloig, the Irish Inquiry, Saints and Scholars that's in there as well, Dan's Mixtape, Dave Cullen. You've got all of these people that are approaching these people, and a big shout out, by the way, to Gript Media, Ben Scallon doing fantastic work as usual. They're asking government ministers and former members of government simple questions, and the media, and these people behave exactly like this guy. Can't get their words out. Don't know what to say. Caught in the back foot. Because I'll tell you why. It is easy to question someone when they are telling the truth. It is difficult to continue telling lies and to try and respond with more lies, because the lies eventually get caught out, because you're sitting in front of a man that is an intellectual. This is what this fella greatly misunderstood, that this man sitting in front of him is an intellectual. So he has been sitting here on Joe Rogan's podcast beforehand with, I mean, he has a serious intellect. I mean, you can just tell by the guy, but there's an awful lot of things about Elon Musk that are important, and I think they're very good influences for someone out there that's looking to be doing some public speaking or indeed fielding questions. Elon ponders, which I find to be very interesting. When something is said to him, he thinks about it. He thinks about his response, and he said as much on the Joe Rogan Experience. And you can see he does it here also. He comes with the knowledge of what he has said beforehand on Twitter and the things that he's done. This week on Twitter, by the way, he's removed a policy that said that, for example, if you have the likes of Ellen Page running around there saying that she's Elliot Page now, that you are not forced into calling her Elliot. Great. This is the beginning of the deconstruction of nonsense that has happened over the last number of years. And this is something that was propped up by social media companies. Again, people would say, well, that's not the real world. I agree with you. But it was boiling over into the real world, and it has boiled over into the real world. I know people, and again, in my circle, that would take it very seriously if a fella turned around to them and said that his name was Jane all of a sudden. Where some of those people draw the line, that was the changing room situation. And I'm like, aha, well, there is a line for you, but it's far too far back from where I stand. I'm like, okay, whatever you do in your own time, behind closed doors, is fine. However, I'm not going to buy into your lie. Are you going to buy into me being the leader of Ireland, or are you going to buy into me being Snake Eyes, or, I don't know, the Red Power Ranger or something like that? You aren't. I'm not a superhero. I'm not Superman or Batman. Oh, okay, well, that's fine. You won't buy into that, that's fine, and I think you're right not to. Do you know what I mean? Whereas these people are still pushing nonsense. So one of the things that he said as well too, I don't know whether you caught it, was that he was interviewing the BBC. I like that. I like that he is actually asking them, and he's forming an opinion, and he's formulating thoughts on the spot there, and is asking them what they think. To me, that interview is one of the most important interviews that we'll ever see, because it just shows the media in what they are, which is this guy came in here trying to spout out of him about hate speech, this nonsensical stuff. This is all speech that these people don't like, which is what Elon has ascertained through this conversation. And this guy couldn't give him one example. Now, what I do think will happen from now on is people like this guy will be coached into, okay, here's a specific example that you can go with. And I mean, it's a bit, out there, but let's hope that this guy then doesn't go back and check it, or have it already checked, or have someone on standby to check what you're saying. Do you know what I'm saying? So again, I think it's hugely important to know that we're at a point in time now where journalists are on the back foot, and this is why you're seeing more and more aggression from journalists in some of the pieces that they're writing towards people, because now has come to the point in time where they were trying to use it as some sort of they're trying to use it as some sort of comment being, I suppose, disrespectful towards people, this citizen journalism that people are doing. And they were saying, oh, so self-professed citizen journalist. Well, here's the thing. A citizen journalist, guys, wouldn't exist if actual journalists, if you want to even call them that, did their actual job. There was a point in time when journalists here in Ireland and around the world actually went after stories and exposed things. Now, not so much. Now you're just parroting what the government are saying, and there's no hard questions being asked about them. Like, here's the thing, and again, it's a big respect to be shown towards Gript and Ben Scanlon and what they're doing there. They have made ministers sweat and make faces that they have never made before because of simple questions. Just simple, average questions that you would expect the media to be asking. These are average questions that he's asking him, and he's like, doesn't know what to say. I find it very interesting. And the fact that he is talking about misinformation, you want to bring misinformation up? Okay. Well, there's a guy that's going to fire it back at you and say, what about the misinformation that you are peddling and still going with? I have an article here today. It was today or yesterday. Hospitals and healthcare facilities have only dropped the mask policies in the last 2 days. 3 years on. 2 weeks to slow the spread. 3 years on, and they were still at it. And how many studies had been done? How many different countries had shown you that taking mitigations like those were a bad idea? Do you know what I'm saying? Also, as well, too, how come the most marginalised in our societies never had a problem? The homeless issue, people weren't falling all around in the homeless circles. They weren't falling all around, the, shall we say, the brass monkeys, the people that enjoy other things that are not, say, for example, alcohol. Didn't seem to be much of an issue with those people. And you told us that they were the most susceptible. So again, there are people coming to a realization that there's a massive problem with the media, and the media complex is in panic mode now. It doesn't know what to do, which is why what you'll see later on is pertaining to how they're going to try and weave themselves into the likes of podcasts. Podcasts are the next thing that they want to go to. But as I said beforehand, it is very difficult to keep up nonsense over the course of an hour when you are met with someone like Elon Musk. It's super difficult. So that's why they don't talk to these guys often, because what happens is clips like these get out there. Look at who's been blowing up over the last couple of weeks. Matt Walsh. My missus came to me and was talking to me about Matt Walsh. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised at that. But was like, no, what he's saying is completely right. And I said, oh, that's interesting. It's great to see that. And it's great to see these guys getting the push now, because what has been happening beforehand hasn't been the case. You've been seeing this Dylan character that's been on the Bud Light been pushed out there. Then you have Riley Gaines, and you're like, oh, look what she's saying. She's absolutely correct. So the world is returning to normality. It's returning to common sense, which is very important. And common sense and normality and rationality and reality, of course, is a very bad thing for people that have been propagating nonsense for the last number of years, because they're going to have to try and turn with all of this and say, oh, we didn't really believe in it as much as we did. And they're not fully in behind it. And to me, why I do this show, I suppose, is because I'm someone that feels like I couldn't just stand by and look at all of this go on and not add to it and help and point out something that I thought was wrong. And fair play to Elon Musk. That's what I want to say. Is Twitter perfect? No, it's not. It absolutely isn't. And there are still some issues there and still some bugs to be worked out for sure. And there has been people as well, like Derek Bly, for example, that's no longer on Twitter because some people use certain functions to try and get at it. To me, you still have to Muhammad Ali, you have to box clever when it comes to these things, because it's quite not there. This social media app, on the other hand, Gab, really good, very strong, no messing over here. So just pertaining to what Elon was talking about here you have Paul Reed coming out in the last couple of days and is now starting to admit what we already knew beforehand, but is now becoming more and more clear. This is what I'm saying to you about the media starting to shift with the people. 3 years too late. Called us all sorts, wanted us not to be left out of our homes ever again, wanted us not to be able to go to funerals or weddings or anything like that, baptisms and communions and confirmations, of course, off the cards, going and visiting loved ones in hospital as well too, off the cards. And these people then all caught down at the likes of parties and up to all sorts of nonsense then over the last couple of years. Something else, isn't it? So there's a big wave coming, and it's going to be interesting to see. Paul Reed says about 30% of decisions might have been wrong. Ex-HSE chief Paul Reed on choices made during that. This time 3 years ago, the now former head of the HSE, Paul Reed, was in the middle of a full-blown crisis. The stuff that came from China had gripped the country. Now, just as you know, Paul Reed was a former telecommunications manager, so involved in that, nothing to do with health or anything like that, wasn't a doctor or anything like that, but was overseeing health in Ireland. Isn't that incredible? What do you think about that? This is a guy as well, by the way, that was, I don't know whether you can even say allegedly, it's up there on Wikipedia, was a part of a communist party years ago as well, I think sometime in the 80s. Like, these are the type of people running the show. It's unreal. But about 30% of decisions might have been wrong. Okay, well, that's a beginning. But 30% is it's a large amount. That's nothing to be sniffed at. If they turned around and said 5%, you'd say, all right. But about means anything as well, too, when you read into these things. Could be more than 30%, could be less. But to me, this is the beginning of the rollback. And you've noticed it as well as I have. There are fingers starting to be pointed at different people. Look at the Tony Holohan thing that's happened over the last couple of weeks, where the secondment that was out there. They're like, we don't know whether that was done correctly, and we think he might have been involved in it. So the fingers are starting to come out. Micheál Martin has the finger out as well too, and is starting to kind of wag it a little bit too. And now this guy is trying to get ahead of it too. It's going to be fascinating anyway, to say the very least. This happened as well. The Burkean put this out. It says Garda bribery allowed hundreds of Pakistanis enter Ireland illegally. An unknown Garda has been exposed as running a high-level cash for visa scam in conjunction with a Pakistani fixer to enable up to 800 largely Pakistanis to enter the country. So this is what is happening. You have all sorts and parts of society that are up to very negative things, and you are now seeing people enter into this country hand over fist, and you have done so. People think that this is a joke, and to me, when you walk around Dublin city centre, if you're ever entertaining the idea of coming to Ireland as a tourist, I would recommend more so the rural counties, and when I say rural counties, counties outside of Dublin, because Dublin is unrecognisable, especially when I was a kid. People are showing videos from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're like, Dublin is completely different now. It's derelict looking. There's people hanging around the likes of Moore Street as well that are here basically because they are getting freebies. It's not right. And our historical monuments are being treated as if they are nothing. The people are not consulted on anything. People weren't consulted on Joe coming to this country. And again, that comes down to the point and the fact that a lot of people weren't aware of what he's been up to and what he's done and what he said. That's because your media is curated. It's designed that way. Because I talked to a couple of people during the week and they were shocked with some of the images, and that's what I do now. I have images and I have videos in a folder on the phone, and I say to people, have you seen this? And they show them, and they look at me and they go, oh my God. And I go, yeah, that's what I do now. But this is another indication, and to me, what you're starting to see, and I think the picture is becoming a little bit clearer now, you're going to have, in my opinion, potentially a rebrand of An Garda Síochána in the next 5 to 10 years. You're going to have something to do with the EU. You're seeing the Gardaí. I'll show you some of the stuff down below as well of the recruitment drive of people from different countries that have only arrived into the place. So I showed you before where they were in and around Mosney as well too. Why would they be doing that? Why would they be doing that? Oh, we can't find anybody that wants to be a guard. Really? It seems like the standards are constantly being lowered and you're just going to cause more friction. And then you're going to make it into something that's completely unrecognizable. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't walk over into a country like China or Japan and say to myself, you know what? They look a bit too Japanese and Chinese over here in this police force. Needs a bit more diversity in there. Not at all. Never happens. I don't go to certain parts of America that are predominantly black or anything like that, or parts of Africa that are black and go, do you know what this needs? This needs a bit of diversity. There's no Asians or anything running around here. There's no lads in turbans running around in this police force. No, I don't do that. Because I go, well, this is what the population looks like. That's obviously what's going to be policed. Do you know what I mean? Meanwhile, you people over here going, you can't stay be diverse. Well, if this is happening, it's going to happen again and again and again. And if this is one of our own, this is a very bad egg. And this is someone that should be held accountable for this. But anyway, fair play to the Burkean showing that. That's a massive story in my view. Battle for the skinny. I was having 5, 6, 7 bars of chocolate a day. I needed it to stop, but I couldn't because of no willpower. Lynn McCauley exudes health and happiness. I went on my first sun holiday in probably 8 years last year, and I wore the bikini, and I felt good. This is an article, lads. Now, this is something I was talking about, I think, probably about a month ago. And I was talking about women that were going to the doctors and they were getting this type of stuff here, jabroni there for diabetes or something like that. I think it is allegedly, speculatively, we will say. That's the first one. Have a drink. Hey! If you're new to the channel, by the way, when I say allegedly, speculatively, a lot of people in here are like, take a drink. I'm not encouraging anything, I'm just saying. But you've got people going to the doctor for these things and they're taking them rather than, and this is a symptom of the problem with society right now. And look, people might say, well, Ninja, when you have a dramatic advance in technology, why would you go to the gym versus take this? Listen, nobody knows what the long-term effects of this are. And I'm consistent with that with everything, by the way. Nobody knows what the long-term effects of this are. And exercise, by the way, is very good for you. And it produces the likes of endorphins in your own brain. So it's good for your brain chemistry as well. And then you can continue then on. And the fitter you get, the happier you are. I know a lot. Now, that's not always the case. I know people will be like, well, I'm not happy. Okay, that's fair enough. Not everyone's going to be. But 9 times out of 10 people that I talk to that are in good shape, they're always in great form. And it's part of the human condition and part of being human to sometimes be sad. That's okay. Do you know what I mean? There's people that are out there that are like, you should never feel sad. It's not good. And oh my God, I have to diagnose myself with something. No, you don't. It's all right to feel sad. Sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes you have off days. That's all right. No problem. It's all good. But this sort of stuff being published in an article, again, going back to what I was saying beforehand, this is a company, in my humble opinion, looking to make money through these things rather than, I don't know, promoting exercise amongst women. Like, you're getting women onto things here now that could have a detrimental effect on them presently and obviously in the future, potentially. But I couldn't put the chocolate down because I have no willpower. What? I mean, this is absolutely scandalous stuff. It's scandalous stuff. I got a bikini because I'm at being on these things. Is this where we're at? Is this actually where we're at? Where this person won't bother to look after themselves, eat a clean and healthy diet. Nobody's saying that cheat days aren't a thing. Cheat days are absolutely a thing. And that's something I greatly enjoy. I'll just be honest with you on that one. But like, have a bit of decorum about yourself. But these are the type of people, by the way, that'll be writing articles like this, telling you about the 15 cats that they have in the gaff. They've no bloody family or anything like that, most of them. And then be telling you about Love Island and how great that is. Like, pure utter scutter is what I'd always say. 5, 6, 7 bars of chocolate a day. Well, offset that then by going on a walk or go for a run or do some weights or something like that. Or better, yeah, do something better with your time rather than sitting around eating chocolate. Because here's the thing. Independent IE, you're not doing great there now, I have to be honest with you. Ministers consider rule. This is coming from The Guardian, by the way. This is in England. So sometimes I'll pop in and out of stories, by the way, from different parts around the world. Obviously, I pertain to Ireland far more so, but this stuff is directly affecting us because our shans that are running the place have decided to import a lot of ideology that was in play in the last 5, 6 years and has now been halted. And our idiots here are like, just wheel it in here, guys. Absolute nunties. Ministers consider rule to let single-sex schools bar Doubtfire pupils. Right, that's the beginning of it now. So, as I said beforehand, and I'll say it again, I said it last week and a lot of people agreed, was that this is less than 1%, I'd say, of the population, this sort of Doubtfire stuff, right? And it's dramatically increased over the last 15 years through programming, I believe, and also then as well through certain things in education and all that, and people not being reprimanded for things that they should be. When you have this stuff being pushed back as successfully as it is, which is great to see, don't forget that it's a distraction from the bigger things that are going on in the world. What's happening in the world that's not being talked about? The banks. Okay, I'll talk about all sorts of other things, and there's a lot of fluff and stuff like that that we get through and we talk about and have a laugh about, which is what we have to do. But what's more important? The banks and taxes are fleecing you. They are putting you towards poverty. They are putting you towards having a lesser life. They are actively telling you that you shouldn't have a car. The Green Party are actively telling you that now, here in Ireland. That is a party that are way out of control, that I've yet to meet anybody that actually votes for them. That's not messing. I've yet to meet a person that votes for the Green Party. How is that possible? How do they form part of the government when I can't meet anybody that votes for them? I've got one person that was on Twitter that was like, I actually vote for them. And I'm like, we were based in Cardiff. I just do that to mess up with the algorithm. Okay, that's a weird thing to do then. Why did you do that? Do you know what I mean? And again, very low amount of likes on their posts. A lot of people that are commenting on their posts are actually actively saying the opposite of what they're saying. So how? But this is all part of problem, reaction, solution. Yeah, the plebs, we tell you what, lads, we're listening to you now, lads. Yeah, this stuff is way out of line here. And most people go, yeah, that's grand. And then it's on to the next thing. In the meantime, the banks are announcing that they're putting up mortgage rates. Their inflation is out of reach now at this stage of the game. They're trying to go cashless is another thing. This is a big thing that they're trying to push. Derek Bloig, for example, there is after serving AIB, done it on his YouTube channel there, after serving AIB now with a legal notice because they closed his wife and his kids' accounts there in AIB. Doesn't seem to be any reason at this moment in time, allegedly, speculatively. But these are the type of things and moves that these banks are moving towards now. This is all going on in the background. So like I said, you got to keep an eye on what's going on financially because financially is very important. And it will be going forward. Everyone was delighted. He's a lovely, lovely man. A Dublin inner city resident on Hutch verdict. People say they are players for a very, very well-liked former neighbour who supported local boxing club and ran parties for old folks. this is a non-event in my view. Like, the media tried to make this into a big thing, they did, and I think literally nobody cared. Like, you have media people that are around there now and taking videos, and the memes and stuff like that went around. That's great and everything like that, lads. But who cares? Like, honestly, who cares? Is anybody surprised? The judicial system in this country, and I'm not saying when it pertains to this case, because I don't care what people do. I really don't know. And like I said, different families, not that whatever they do, the government actively stepped on my toes and your toes for the last 3 years. If you want to go and say 2 years, that's fair enough. But 3 years, because they've only added this new rule to the nonsense here, which is, the masks don't have to be worn in the hospitals and all that. America still requires you to take something to get into the place. Meanwhile, the southern border in America has been open and flooding through poor people. There's actually Americans online that are like, now again, I'm not saying you should do this. I'm not condoning this, and I'm not endorsing you to do this. But there's Americans online that are like, should just come up through Mexico, lads. But this sort of stuff here, it's a non-event. Because you still have someone in the judicial system in Martin Nolan. Have a look into him and see what you think there. Because these things don't happen by accident, in my opinion. There was big noise being made about Martin Nolan over the last number of weeks, and then they were like, oh, look at what's going on over here. Nobody cared. Everybody knew that this was going to be the outcome of this anyway. And again, like I said, ever stood in my house. Couldn't care less. Whatever he's doing over there. Catholic schools in Australia hope to tempt Irish teachers with salaries of up to €72,000. Run by the Diocese of Ballarat and Sandhurst, the project is offering to pay teachers visa sponsorship fees and reimburse flights at a cost of up to €3,000. And this week as well, they were talking about the teachers had a conference, I think it was. That's what they were saying in the media anyway. And the lead man was like, we'll pay for flights home, lads. Australians are offering way more. People are like, yeah, heading on over there. But this is a symptom of the problem. Insofar as they're talking about, the schools are undersubscribed here. This is the media again. This is what they're saying. The schools are undersubscribed. They've no teachers or anything like that. But you're actively looking at other countries taking these people out of the place because they're offering them more money and with way less restrictions. And then you're going, we'll offer you flights home. What's the verdict from the government here? We'll take away the Irish requirement, guys, and we'll open it up to more people that are from different countries. Bizarre. And again, we all know why. No excuses for rising supermarket prices. The cost of groceries today does not reflect the change in living costs from year to year, a consumer affairs expert said. Who's doing anything about it? No one. So again, people are looking at things like this and they're getting shafted. I said it to you beforehand and I'll say it again. When I saw the likes of the club card stuff, and it's been heavily criticised by a lot of people that I know now in Tesco, they are, for anyone that's out there that's listening, they have put this thing into play where you have to have this thing called a club card. So you have to have a fixed address, is what I'm saying, to avail of special prices and special offers. So if you're homeless, they don't apply to you. So if you're homeless, for example, and you're out there and you're genuinely homeless and you have to earn a few quid to get whatever it is that's getting you through the day, you have to earn more than what you were doing beforehand because you don't have a club card. Scandalous. And that's just the little guy, because I think of the little guy. But this is what the supermarkets are doing. Okay, we're just going to push this stuff up as far as possible and see what people will pay for. And some people are. But to me, if an awful lot of stock is on the shelves, you're going to see a problem, which is going to be, guys, guess it looks like nobody wants it anymore. And you'll say to me, Ninja Knight, that's ridiculous. Listen, I'm seeing our action figures right now. And I'm just saying that this stuff, this cross-consumerism and consumerism in general, have knock-on effects insofar as if I'm seeing a luxurious item, and that's what an action figure is, okay? An action figure is a luxurious item, as are other things that are out there, like a video game and stuff like that. If a company is seeing stock and specific lines stagnate and stay on shelves, they're not going to buy more of it. They're going to just leave it there. So at this moment in time, I did a post on Instagram yesterday. I was talking about a Spider-Man figure. A Spider-Man figure is €30 now. It comes a 6-inch figure with 2 hands. Okay? That's the accessories. €30. It's outrageous. And people are not paying it. And they're right not to pay it. And I would encourage you not to pay it. And that's aside from the woke stuff that's in that movie now. They're promoting boy large mansions, and obviously as well too, kids that are doubtfires. That's what they're saying in that movie, by the way. So don't go and see Spider-Verse 2 is all I'm saying. People will be out there going, listen, Ninja, I have kids, they have to bring them to it. I hear you, I get you, I understand. All I'm just saying is, I won't be going saying it anyway. I'd pay for another ticket to go see John Wick though, that's excellent. But cross-consumerism is this. What's going to happen eventually is, the stock is going to be lessened with Transformers. The prices are going to be higher so that the likes of the company can make back their money. What do I mean by that? Well, look, for example, this year's big Transformer, we'll just say the large Transformer, it's probably going to be about €250. The biggest Transformer used to be about 100. So that's 100% increase plus a bit more. And that's what they're going to keep doing, because they're going to go, well, I'll tell you what, lads, we used to have 60 people that bought these big Transformers. We now only have 30, and these 30 people are really into it, they are, and they're going to spend big money. And some of those 30 will fall off. You might get 4 or 5 that go, I'm not paying that for it, I'm going to wait for a bit of a sale. That's not going to happen now, because another guy called Nerd Zoic that's like, they're going to make less of these figures. By the way, production is down to 35, it's down 35 to 40%, and the exact same. Just because I watch consumer things from different things, and obviously things that interest me, food's going to be the same. They're planning on that. That's the idea. They're going to go, okay, guys, see all these here, these jars, not selling. They're going out. I tell you what, we need 50% less of the stock, and there you go there. And then that's going to double in price then. That's what's going to happen. And these media companies are in on this. They are happy enough with this because these people earn so much money that they couldn't care less. Me personally, what I wait for is I wait for specials. That's just me. It's the type of person I am. It was something that was drummed into me by my mother. My mother wouldn't pay full price for an awful lot. She'd pay full price for certain things, but she wouldn't pay for an awful lot. And I think that was one of the most valuable lessons that I've ever been taught, which was the stuff is nice and everything like that, but you can wait and you can get it on special. And thank God I was such a person like that in my life. And again, I always say about my dad as well too. My dad's very similar. But my mum, for sure, would have been like, not paying that. That's outrageous. And again, a lot of companies now are starting to say, people within the companies, the likes of the own brand stuff is the same stuff that's going into the premium. Like, I mean, cornflakes, would you say, for example, cornflakes, the same stuff that's going into the Kellogg's box is probably more or less the same stuff that's going into the own brand stuff. So a lot of people looking at it like that. But it isn't justified. And is there anything been done about it? No. And don't forget, by the way, that Senator Jerry Horkin only last year wanted people to be refused entry into supermarkets because they hadn't got the Voldemort. You know what I'm saying? So these are all knock-on effects and repercussions. And like I said beforehand, when you're seeing an increase in products like that, like, I'm way more selective. So is the missus. The missus goes into places now and is just like, no, I'm only buying the bare minimum and the essentials, because anything else now is just superfluous. Deodorant is going through the roof. You've got soap and wash and stuff like that's gone through the roof. Like I said earlier on, cans of Coca-Cola, €19 for 20 cans. 100% increase from where it was only a couple of years ago. Oh, but the problem is they have an issue over there in the blue and yellow flag waving country. It's in the middle of nowhere. Affects nothing. Nothing. Well, you know, they have a problem now because the price of petrol... No, the price of petrol's gone back down. It's all sorted. Where's that being reflected now in the prices? Are they bringing them back down? No. Absolute nonsense, guys. Record temperatures point to likely extreme heat waves this summer. The Irish Examiner, you know, for anyone that's out there that's listening from a different country, this is the nonsense that us Irish have to put up with. Every year they've started it now. And a couple of days ago, I heard a nonsense talk on the radio. Now, like I said, I don't turn the radio on, but other people do in my presence. And I heard this nonsense. You know, this week and this year is probably going to see the highest record temperatures that we've ever seen. And, you know, you've got these people out here, you know, climate deniers. A climate denier? What's that? That's a new thing that they have now. Oh my God, you're a denier of all sorts. Well, it seems to have worked out for me so far. Been denying your stuff, what you've been saying over the last couple of years, and I think I'm going to crack on with this here now. Climate denier. What about the things that you can see in the sky, for example, like the planes that are playing X's and O's? That never used to happen when I was a kid, but it's happening all the time now. I was talking to a guy, he's another YouTuber, he's called Red Dawn Radio. Supposed to be going on his channel very soon as well. Going to be chatting about different things. He's a big fan of Salty, and Salty shouts him out all the time, which is great. But he was talking about, what was he called? They talked about it on a podium as well too. I think this fella from a 3-letter agency in America was talking about stratospheric injections. And there are people now starting to talk about that. So when you look up in the sky and you see the lines that are there and they've been drawn by planes, and other planes that are drawing those lines, you have to go, There's people as well on Twitter that are tracking some of these planes. I think one there they showed last week or the week before, it took off in Cornwall in England and flew around the place here in Ireland. They'd done loads of laps around the place and then headed back to Cornwall. And people are like, what's going on there? So you've got these people now that are upset about the fact that the sun is going to be out. It's April. It's nearly May. Like, you're coming into summer now. So what gets my goat all of the time is we live in a country that for the majority of the year, I mean, it's still cold now and it's April. This is probably the coldest year that I've ever felt. And to me, I have my own opinions on that. I certainly do, because when you look up into the sky and you see a nice day, and then next while you see the plains and you go, well, it's going to be cloud here now in probably about 24 hours. And wouldn't you know, there is, and there's rain. So to me, when you see this sort of stuff go on, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense to me. But some other people might say, no. But who cares? At the end of the day, when they're putting up these graphics of, oh my God, guys, Ireland is in red. Look at it here. Look at the weather warning. That looks like a nice day to me, and it's not hotter than some of the countries I've been to. I've been to countries where it's way hotter, and they've gotten on. Oh my God, can't believe you're a climate denier. The weather changes. Get over it. That's the end of the end of the conversation. Face masks no longer mandatory in healthcare settings. 3 years too late, I would say. And I have an awful lot of friends and stuff like that went into facilities and everything like that and had all sorts of conversations and problems and words with people. You have to put it over your nose. Yeah, but if I walk 5 feet outside the door that we're just standing in here and I go into the cafe, I don't have to wear it there then. Yeah, that's right. So what's special about that cafe that I can't stand here with it? Well, the HSC, they actually say that you have to wear it out here. I don't know about you guys, but my faith in the medical profession is at an all-time low. Head teachers urged to drop Doubtfire lesson plan. This is coming from the UK again. So the UK are sort of leading the way just after America has decided, look, we're jettisoning this nonsense here now. The UK are like, oh, so are we, guys. We are 100% doing this also. The Irish guys are way behind. The Vrag are standing up there going, well, like, I'm not really sure. Like, I'm going to have to go back and like talk to them about that. And you've got the likes of the O'Gorman fella still running around. How he's still in the position he is in, it baffles me. Now, it doesn't really, to be honest with you. He's there for a reason. But anyway, an education pressure group has called on head teachers to ditch an inappropriate lesson plan that tells primary school pupils it is acceptable not to want to whatever. But this is the sort of stuff that's been aimed at kids, and it's the stuff that you're going to keep seeing be aimed at them for the next couple of years. But again, like you said, this is a distraction tactic to me. It's watch what this hand is doing, and let's get further away from 2020 and 2021 and 2022 as possible. So that would be like, we learned stuff, guys, but like, lessons were learned on that one. Whoops, we won't do it again. ECB's 9 expects rates to rise further in near term. The chief economist of the European Central Bank, and by the way, the ECB, the European Central Bank, are actually looking to introduce a digital currency. Now, digital currencies for you and me are like, whoa. Because that just factors in what they're doing in China with this credit score nonsense. That's not something you want. Cash is king, guys. I would wholly recommend staying with cash and using cash as much as possible. Now, I know that some of this is part of the plan as well, too, for you to spend more. I get that. I hear that point, and a lot of people do share that point with me. I hear that 100%. But you have an economist here now has said surveys of market analysts carried out by the ECB indicate that expectations or interest will rise. So this is, again, taking more money off you. And for what reason? Guys, you wouldn't believe it, but this country with the blue and yellow flag, they actually need our help. And how does me paying more money in interest for money that you've loaned me? I'm actually paying way over the odds. Anyone that's out there that's on a mortgage, a bit of advice that was given to me, and this is free financial advice for you, is to pay the principal of your mortgage. So if you can get money together and start paying the principal, that is going to lessen the interest that you're paying on that money. Just so as you know, they don't tell you that. None of these banks tell you these things. So I'm just saying to you, that's just something that I was given as advice, and I'm just passing that on to you. So this is what they want to do. They want to continually increase these things so that you have less money to utilize and to go on holidays and to buy a car and everything like that. This is all working in tandem and in sync with each other. Seychelles, could paradise have forced climate refugees? Guys, it's very warm in Syria nowadays. It's been warm over there for the last 2,000 plus years, and guys, we need to move these people on. What? What are you talking about? What are you saying? These people have accommodated themselves over there and they've gotten on. They've actually actively adapted to the area and they are wearing clothes that likewise adapt to that. Oh, lads. I tell you what, if you want me to be a climate refugee, I'll head over to the Caribbean tomorrow, no problem. It's a bit cold here in Paddyland, I tell you that. Send me to the Caribbean. People will be heard in the chat going, it's the Caribbean. Oh, yeah, okay. Caribbean, whatever it might be. Send me over there. How about that? You know, and let me put the foot up, or the feet up, I should say, and let's drink out of a pineapple and have a good time. You know, nonsense stuff. It never happened. More than 400,000 tourists visit the tropical paradise of Seychelles every year. That's 4 times the country's population. Now, tourism bad, guys. Irish renters share the horror of living in damp accommodation for a new exhibition highlighting the housing crisis. So the housing crisis, by the way, an awful lot of these people, by the way, that say to you, I don't have a house and I need a house. Are you one of these people that's welcoming everybody and anybody into the country? I am, yeah. That's called supply and demand, buddy. And you certainly don't understand that because I do. I don't know whether it's just 3 years of collecting things or whatever like that, or just having my head screwed on. I understand supply and demand. These people just don't. They really don't understand it. I mean, George Carlin said it best. I'm going to paraphrase, you know, just imagine the average person and then realize there's an awful lot of people out there that are even stupider than that person. But anyway, an artist is documenting the dampest, darkest rented homes in Ireland. Avril Caroons doesn't look and doesn't sound like an Irish name. That's interesting, isn't it? So a foreign person is documenting this nonsense, Eddie. Stop. Gas stuff. Speeding motorists targeted in 24-hour Garda operation. Well done, lads. Is they doing a great job? Where does that money go? Revenue, does it? Does that where it goes? Allegedly, speculatively. Anyway, are we interested in policing? Doing real jobs, real police jobs? No. It's a bit of a hard job now, lads. What are we going to do? We're going to set up the L vans there and get people on the speed cameras. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. It's a sad state of affairs when the police are up to that. Concerns over TikTok data as government advised against use. Now, this is something that had been said in that article, which was this. And, oh no, I'm at the point. I'm after making a Hamestack, guys. The TikTok thing and the other article has been posted together. Anyway, I'll talk about the second one now in a second. So, what I'm talking about, TikTok leader Radgar has said there are some concerns about how the data gathered by TikTok is used and how it may be transmitted. This is weird stuff that's going on, and it seems to be a worldwide thing. Allegedly, what has been going on in this platform, now, first and foremost, the CCP have seats on the board of directors for this company. That's a bad start. Okay. But the second thing as to what's been happening on this platform, and it has been shown to me, and why this increase in wanting to ban it is coming from, is there's information getting out on that. So videos are going viral and people are getting way more support than they would have done beforehand. Like, I think back to the last few years on Twitter. If you came out with something that was nationalist or patriotic or anything like that, or anyway common sense, there would be divulged of people that would be in on top of you, that would be telling you you're all sorts. For example, Katie Hopkins. Okay, now I don't agree with everything that Katie Hopkins says, but I'm just pointing out that sometimes she comes out with things that you're like, well, that's on the money and that's on the nose there. But she's made a big stride on TikTok, and what I'm saying is that's a problem for these government officials, because they're like, the youth are looking at this and they're getting it. I've talked to more people now that have kids than ever before, and they're telling me that the kid is looking at and listening to Andrew Tate. And I'm like, right. So that's an interesting time that we're at now, because they're not listening to your PJ Gallagher's or your Rory Stories or your Sir Steve O'Timothys that are going on to the late night show and they say they feel sad all the time. I feel sad. And I have a posture like a... What's it Conor McGregor said? Posture like a prawn, PJ Gallagher. Like, none of that going on. All people are having over here is fun, and then they're sharing things like, here, look at the sky there, look at the fountain, turn around there. The lads in the sky are playing X's and O's there. I don't know what that's about there. And in 24 hours, look at it. It's piddling rain now. Well, yeah, anyway, these people are concerned now about TikTok all of a sudden. Interesting, that one, isn't it? This one came here from the Irish Times, and it's talking about sweeping changes to existing law with relation to what they want to do with the unborn, we'll just say, because we, you know, you have to dance around things on this stuff, this platform at times. But a barrister, and I will probably do a video on it. The barrister is, as you would imagine, how she looks, not a very attractive look. I'm not even going to say not an attractive woman at all. Talks about on our Twitter about enjoying going walking the dogs. Doesn't seem to have a family. You know, classic traits. Is involved allegedly, expectedly. We even said, I think she is, that she states on the profile with UCD. Followed and following some of the more radical individuals that are hanging around these colleges, third level education, I should say. So this sort of stuff is getting out there. But what was in the article, in this one here, now as you can see here, talking about this, obviously the word is taboo on this thing, but, and as you know, I'm strictly and very much so against that. I'm very pro-life, as you know. Another recommendation would see strict obligations put on healthcare workers to refrain from providing misinformation. Sure, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because misinformation and disinformation are words that are also known as, and has been known as, the truth over the last couple of years. What does that mean? But they're taught policing people, and they're also telling people to refrain from sharing, obviously, what seems to be the truth, allegedly, speculatively. Shall we say that? Anyway, that's not good. That was in that article, by the way, and that was down towards the end. That to me is a big problem, and that's a red flag. When I see things like this, I'm like, that's a red flag here. Why would the medical profession be told not to say certain things? Have they not been told to say certain things for the last couple of years? Apparently so. Not only that then, but there were some leaked documents that got out there that told people how much these people were paid to administer certain things, and the money was big. So that's not good when you're saying that. Like, to me as well, if you were looking to make sweeping changes, and the sweeping changes, by the way, that they want to do is they want to take it from 3 days from go away and have a think about it to no time at all. That's what's stated in this article, from what I understand. Like, that's not good. You know what I mean? Like, to just make a decision like that on a whim. And I know a couple of people, and in particular women, that have made that decision and they have regretted it ever since. That's just a personal experience. It might not be the personal experience of other people, but this sort of stuff of having this stuff on tap is a bad idea, in my humble opinion. And again, it's something I talked about before, but Irish women, you need to be having kids. You need to be having children, because what they are looking to do is now they're looking to drown out culture, history, tradition in this country, and they are looking to replace it with something that people don't know who or what they are. Like Mike Shinoda, I talked about him beforehand, one of the prominent members, if not, I suppose, other than Chester Benton, a super prominent member of Lincoln Park, has talked in the past about, I don't know where I am, where I'm from, I don't know at all. And then you've got people that are here now that are been, and again, it's coming to things like this to show you that lifestyles of, hey, I'm in my 40s and I'm childless, woo, great, I can't put down the chocolate bar, like nonsense stuff. You're actively trying to go against a biological feeling. Like, it's not working. And this is probably the fourth generation. Now, when I say fourth generation, I'd say people in their 40s and 50s are the fourth generation that have been sold this bad pup as such, and have been told to be super duper happy. And these people ain't happy. And now they're trying to wreck things for other people. And there's people in their 30s that are at the same juncture. I know people that are in their 30s, that are late 30s now, some of them in their 40s, and they're head wreckers. They wreck your head because there are people that are just completely unhappy in themselves. But, you know, as I say, sometimes you have to look at that person and go, I'm just not going to talk to you. Just don't want to know. I will keep collecting. Irish comic fan. Right. Yeah, anyway. That's what you keep seeing with these articles. Irish comic book fan. Where is he from? He's Irish, yeah. From where? Via Kupur or whatever like that is. Where is it? New Delhi. Like, oh my God. Like, it's absolutely unreal. Fair play to him, though. Great collection, though, you know, nonetheless. I'm not slagging out the collection. That's great. And he's obviously in the Deadpool and all that. And fair play to him. And do you know what? I will say this, right? Because I always say this, and I agree. The guy doesn't look like what Deadpool looks like. And that's his favourite character. Like, a testament again to all of this nonsense that's been pushed out by these companies, this woke nonsense. You have to look like this character. Listen till I tell you something. I didn't care that the Black Ranger, and in fact, he was an interesting character to me. The Black Ranger was a black guy. I didn't care that Blade was a black guy. I didn't care that Jet Li, I mean, I love Jet Li movies. I didn't care that Jackie Chan looked as they did. They were in entertaining stuff that I enjoy it. Didn't have to look like them. Didn't have to do it. And the same way as well too, I don't have to be a woman to enjoy the likes of Sarah Connor or Ripley or some of the other brilliant female characters that are out there, like Cara Dune, for example, that was in The Mandalorian. Don't have to be female to enjoy those. So this nonsense of having to look like someone to enjoy it is pure and utter nonsense. Like I said before, I'd be creating my own comic man at that, but I have a great idea for a character I have, and it's one that's going to be set in Hawaii. And I don't know anything about Hawaii. I haven't been to Hawaii, but I tell you what, I'm going to be looking at putting the character being, is it Polynesian that they say? But he's definitely Hawaiian anyway, for sure. A lot of inspiration coming from a couple of real life people for that anyway. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Like, I don't have to create a character that looks like me. Do you know what I mean? And likewise as well, too, we have a couple of ideas for African characters as well. So, like, you don't have to buy into this nonsense of, oh, you have to look like me to be the other side of things, though, is this. You can absolutely, on the same wavelengths, point out what they're doing to characters like Luke Skywalker and what they're doing to other characters that have a particular look and have a particular thing about them. It's very clear. Look at what's gone on with Power Rangers. Who do they put front and center in the new one? They put Billy front and center. It wouldn't be because he votes a certain way and because he's of a certain orientation, is it? That's why. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, it's clear. Anyway, we'll move on. I like to weave in and out of this entertainment stuff. New Year revelers who trashed taxi and scared driver ordered to pay €3,350 in compensation. 3 drunken passengers who trashed the taxi on New Year's Eve have been told to pay the driver, Georgia, getting ahead of myself here, driver $3,350 in compensation. Allegedly 3 of them from Georgia. Have they been deported? No. So that goes to show you the current state of things in this country. It says they're all, doesn't it? Let's keep going here. So let's have a look at some of the other stuff that's gone on during the week. Micheál Martin was out during the week on Twitter spouting out and talking about we'll have to look into the cancer rates. And cancer is a very big problem here in Ireland. Yeah, it is. We're third in the world. Third in the world. Now, what blows my mind, lads, is this. New Zealand is second. So whatever's going on in New Zealand is a small country from what I understand. But Ireland is third in the world. Mongolia is up there at number 1. Has anyone, by the way, seen what's been going on with the Dalai Lama? I meant to say that at the start of this. Between Joe here in America and Hunter running around the place and the Dalai Lama in the last week and a half, holy moly. These people are just coming out and are just, you know what I mean, coming out. People will be like, you're going against our community. No, I'm just telling you, these people are openly showing you what they are. And not any law enforcement is taking any action with these people. And meanwhile, they're telling you, the Gardaí are going to be totally surveilling the far right. What? Like, what does that mean? What does far right even mean? People that are normal, rational, reasonable people. You see, I could keep saying, it's like the Elon Musk thing. These people that are running the show at the moment, that are running this circus, are afraid of people getting into positions because those people are going to hold them accountable. That's the fear for them. Just letting you know on that. But look at this. Third in the world for cancer rates. How and why? Are they getting to the bottom of that? Not at all. Couldn't care less. And New Zealand, my God, guys. RTE News, publicly funded media. This is a label that's been attributed to it by Twitter. Now, other places have been labelled state-funded media and have promptly told people, we're leaving Twitter now, lads. The jig is up. But for RTE, the jig isn't up yet. Now, as you can see here, they've 1.2 million followers. They don't get that many likes, even though they've that many followers. And I usually get more likes than they do. My likes have been wonky over the last while. I think of about 1,200 people that follow me on Twitter. And I average in and around, I'd say, probably between 10 to 60 likes. Not a lot. But what's happening on Twitter recently, and I've seen it, is someone's post might be up there, and it's someone that like I'd follow, and they might have a bit of a spicy meet the ball of a take. And next of all, boom, the tweet disappears, and you actually either have to go to their profile, or if you're scrolling for about 2 hours, you'll get back to the tweet. And again, it's very annoying. But publicly funded media, this is something that people are tweeting at Elon Musk and other people at Twitter to be like, listen guys, the Irish people are being forced to fund this. They are being threatened with imprisonment and or fines with not giving money towards the TV license, which is keeping this company afloat. And this company are actively in the ear of the government telling them you should just put a tax upon every household in the country to keep us going. Don't forget as well too that Simon Coveney's brother is high up in this company. So that to me would suggest that there's bias at the very least. Simon Coveney, as you know, is a minister in the government. That's a conflict of interest, is it not? That your brother is in there and is running a very big position in this company. Would you think that that man has influence? I would say so. Allegedly, respectively. So the move is on for people to say, hang on here for a second, don't agree with this. Publicly funded, under duress, under threat, and a lot of people have been saying it online, they're like, this company is extorting people in Ireland to have a tag like this here. That's what a lot of people are saying online. Look at this here, lads. Honest to God, the Green Party, I really dislike them, and I would go as far as saying as I detest the Green Party. Janet Horner here, and again, every single time, this one looks like Slot from the Goonies. Like, every single time, it's these bizarre-looking individuals that nobody knows who voted for them or how they voted for them. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, lads. When you see what happened in America with El Joe, I'm like, that's broken my worldview of these things. You have to dance around on this platform. But I'm telling you, when it comes to these things, I'm like, I don't think these people are elected, lads. I think they're picked. Anyway, I was chatting about the introduction of parking charges in the Phoenix Park on News Talk Breakfast this morning. The park is a rare inner city slice of heaven. When we tame the traffic, and parking charges can help that. So how can we help the park charge people money to be there? Do you know what, lads? I'm at the point in time that I can't wait until the Green Party member knocks on my door, because I am just going to give them a very nice and respectful piece of my mind. This is outrageous. How these goofballs are doing what they are doing and are being listened to. And News Talk are facilitating these people, by the way. Don't forget as well, News Talk are owned, allegedly, respectively. We even say that. I don't even think we have to. Bauer Media own them, a German company. They're the same ones that own that Go Loud, by the way. And we'll see two fellas as well, too. Put it up during the week. I just put up a thing of 3 rat emojis, and people are like, you can't be calling them rats, ninja. Rats have spines and they don't. It's a brilliant comment. But look, parking charges in the park. Now, you might say, well, if you're a Dubliner and all like that, there you go. But what if you were someone from the country that comes up to Dublin to go to the likes of the zoo or anything like that, or to a concert or anything like that? Clowns like this want you to pay for that. Cure up out of that. That's my option, to be honest with you. I'll say to you, no, I'm not having that at all. So these people are being facilitated. 33 likes on this tweet. 6,000 views. This is the best thing about this view counter, by the way, from Elon Musk on Twitter. 6,000, close to 7,000 people viewed this shy and said, yeah, I like that. And 33 people just went, yeah, that's cool. 11 comments there have been like, this is ridiculous. How can you not dislike this party and the people in it at this point in time? And I mean, they're led by a complete and utter fluke in Eamon Ryan. Look at this here. Senator Mary Fitzpatrick, welcome Mardo, flags flying, Cade Mila Falcha, couldn't even put the fathers on the words there, thought, you know, this is supposed to be Irish. Cad Mila Falcha, like, not even the right words there. Ready for POTUS. American flag, EU flag, nonsense flag. 129,000 views, 57 likes, bombarded in the comments by people that were like, what the fuck is this? And rightfully so, because people went, hang on, where's the Irish flag? Why is that not there? And then you do other goofs that were like, the Irish flag's actually indoors. The Irish flag should be taking precedent over that. And I would also say that, especially when it's in our country, that flag can take precedence in America, for sure. And I fully, 100% stand behind that. Here in Ireland, front and centre should be the Irish flag. Very simple. But yeah, it's actually, the Irish flag is actually inside. Listen to me. Your ancestors would have been on both hands and both knees when Oliver Cromwell rocked into the place. Okay? Your ancestors would have done the same for the black and tans. Okay? You'd have been on their side. You'd been calling people anti-imperialist. You'd been calling them anti-empire. That's what you'd have been. Anti-British. You're a British phobe. That's the type of person you are. But look at that up there being hoisted. It's actually unbelievable. But this is what I'm saying to you about the decay in society, and also as well too, the realization from people that are like politicians, defence forces, Gardaí, all in on this. Not good. Not good, lads. There's a Run Sláinte, Department of Health, as you know as well too, Ireland, an African country. He's been promoted as such in the media. Every advertisement you see now is a black person in it. And here's the thing. That's not the issue. The issue is how inauthentic this is. There isn't that many black people in Ireland to be then going around and putting all the advertisements of black people around. That's like going to Nigeria, to keep this as simple as possible. That's like going to Nigeria and saying, okay, guys, we're going to have all white people on the advertisements over there, on every advertisement. Make sure they're on there in every single advertisement. Nonsense. It's like going to China or Japan and doing the exact same. It's like going to Brazil and deciding, now we're going to have white people running around this here that are non-Brazilians. Like, baffling stuff. And this is what they keep pushing forward. Mad, isn't it? Mr. Blobby has made a comeback onto TV screens. It's great to see. Blobby, 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 Blobby. Do you remember Mr. Blobby? Mr. Blobby was great. And Noel Edmonds is going to come into the chair now in a moment and sit down there. Blobby, Blobby, Blobby. Oh, stop. Watch the debate in full on Talk TV YouTube channel. So this is a student's shock. Single schools could reject Mrs. Doubtfire kids. As if that's a thing. It's absolutely not a thing. Listen, when I was a kid, I thought I was Batman. And I thought I was Godzilla. And I thought I was a T-Rex sometimes when I was 5, you know. And your man and dad used to just turn around and just go, yeah, you're not. And that was it. Now, here's the other side of things and where common sense is starting to prevail. When you have nonsense like this, where people are talking about Doubtfire kids, okay, do you think that a child should be able to drink alcohol? No. Do you think a child should be able to, smoke or anything like that? No. But you think a child is able to make a decision like this that's a life-altering, forevermore permanent decision? And these goofs are like, yeah. Now, someone will be in the chat in caps lock being like, Ninja, these people would let the kids drink and smoke. I agree. Listen, I agree. These people are not to be listened to. That's the most important thing. And I think what's happening now is you're getting to see society starting to turn back and go, not into this now, not having it. And then, of course, then you've got Mr. Blobby sitting here now. Look at the head on this thing. Sitting there now being like, I think we should. Look at this. Felix Byrne, co-founder of Doubtfire Activism UK. For anyone that's listening here and wondering why I'm saying Mrs. Doubtfire, movie, Robin Williams, the gist of what I'm talking about here. But there you go, lads. That's what's happening there. Let's keep going. I have more pictures down below. This is a fantastic platform. Let you upload 8 at a time. Used to be like 4. Emma O'Kelly, RTE's education correspondent. You can contact me at emma.o'kelly@rte.ie. Any views expressed here are my own. I'm also chair of NUJ, Dublin Broadcasting Branch. So these people don't hang around the education sphere, by the way, just to let you know. With 850 primary school teachers all gathered in Killarney, the homogeneity of our teachers is plain to see. Here's something I've written about this. Teachers could learn from pupils on diversity. So they want more people that are non-white in the teaching roles. I guess what this woman doesn't seem to talk about in this, 85%, is it? 85% plus there of teachers are female. Doesn't seem to be talking about the equality of men there or anything like that, or bringing more men into the profession. Do you know why? Because men wouldn't have 90% of the nonsense that goes on in the profession like that. You know what I mean? It's absolutely out there. It really is. Honest to God. And these are the type of people that are talking about an RTE correspondent on education. Let's talk about more diversity. What? Like, no. You're wanting to hire people on what they look like. Like, that's insane. That's completely insane. Anyway, we're importing the stuff here quicker from America than ever before, and it's been rejected quicker than the Americans rejected it, to be fair. Biden sends out this one. I'll say this for Irish pubs. They really put you in malarkey. He didn't know where he was. Honestly, if you were American, right, and you were looking at this fella floating around Ireland for the couple of days that he was, I think only Enda Kenny was pictured with him and the son. Not interesting, isn't it? And you're seeing him go around and it looks like he's doing a bit. This fella goes on like, I think he does 2 days work in America and then goes on like a holiday for like 2.5 weeks. All the time. Heads back to Delaware or something like that, is it? But look at this. 2.4 million views, 20.4k likes. And what's front and center here? Lizzo. Look at this Jabba the Hutt looking individual. And of course might as well say that these are probably Irish girls here, all pushed to the back there. Now, to me, if you're coming out and saying this guy, you need your head examined, to be quite honest with you. And honestly, this girl here, listen, if I was a bloke and I was involved with you, it'd be an immediate look to you. Look at this. Front and centre, lads. What do you think about that? And look where the eyes are looking at this carefully curated pictures. You know, oh, Guinness is in there, guys. That's totally Irish there. That mind is here behind there. Look at this one. Unreal. You almost think that it's an African country, and now you have this nonsense here from Fianna Fáil. Through his work as a local councillor, J.K. Onamawere wants to show migrants and members of the new Irish. This is a conspiracy theory, lads. They told you they weren't replacing you. New Irish. This is planter language, lads. This is Plantation 2.0. Community that there is a place for you and a voice in politics. It's your home. Hang on here now. Nobody was asked about whether we wanted to open the doors to these guys. These guys aren't even in the EU, by the way. I think the concert that the Gettr fella and all had in the 80s has come back to bite people here now. I really do. It's your community. It's your future. Not if you're Irish, though. You can get bent. That's basically the message that's been said here. And he talked about New Irish as well, too. This is outrageous, lads, honestly. And again, 4,646 views, 28 likes. Low energy surrounding this, and more people waking up to, hang on here for a second, this isn't good. Tail is wagging the dog. You had more nonsense like this here as well, too. How embarrassing is this? Chris Andrews, TD. Today, POTUS visited Leinster House and acknowledged the positive impact of the peace process in Ireland that the US helped build. Do you know that Mary Lou MacDonald, who's leader of Sinn Féin, which is supposed to be the Republican Party, which is supposed to be the Nationalist Party here in Ireland, do you know what flag she has in her profile picture? It's Palestine, not Ireland, not the tricolour. And then you have the Michelle O'Neill one out there posting pictures of her and Bill and Hillary. It's just like, Sinn Féin will do a change. No, they won't. Absolutely not. You're living in La La Land. What's that Roy Keane says? You're living in Cuckoo Land. You're like Cuckoo Land. We need to see the US helping to build a genuine peace process in Palestine. Ireland has shown the possibility of building a lasting peace. And look at this. The weeb. Look at the place, how full it is, by the way. The place packed to the rafters up around here. And anything to do with the Irish people, not a rat's is given. There's about 15 people in here on any given day. It's an absolute disgrace. And what has been shown to us now over the last week and a half with this sort of stuff is how superfluous the large majority of these people are. Little administrators is all they are. Little administrators for the EU. And look at this fella here, this dweeb standing up there, I love me Palestine shirt. It's a pity nobody turned up there that was shouting for Ireland, wasn't it? It was a pity the likes of people before Prophet decided to come out with nonsense, be like, we're not going to attend it. Well, I tell you what, lads, first of all, there's some respect that's been given to you from people that are like, fair play to us because of Joe. And they're like, that's actually not why we're not going. We're not going because Joe has been up to all sorts of negative things. We're going because they've been involved in wars. Sure. But why not go there and upset the apple cart and cause a bit of mischief? Like, that's what you want to be doing, you know? Meanwhile, you've got Richard Boyle Barrett then, who's the stepson of Jeremy Irons, the actor, going on to the likes of Ireland AM, and Alan Hughes is going, sure, what's this going to have? What sort of impact is this going to have? You can nearly hear the producers, allegedly, speculatively in Alan Hughes' ears, roaring down, going like, shouting down. And Timmy Dooley sitting there beside him. Timmy Dooley was schooled by Philip Dwyer outside the door, what was it, 6 months ago? Like, it beggars belief. It really does. It's a circus, this place, honestly. Now, this is another thing that came out during the week. In Florida, honest to God, I'm not suggesting if you're a leftist, don't move to Florida. You won't like it there. But I tell you, if it all goes Pete Tong here, lads, I'm heading to Florida. People will be like, oh my God, you're criticizing people coming to this country. People coming here because they're scamming the place. The situation that's at hand at the moment in time now on here in Ireland is this stuff is going to get worse unless it's turned around real quick. But here's what's going on in Florida. Florida is lit. I like what Florida is doing. Florida Senate committee has, you know, I keep saying things like this now. This is absolutely gas. Has unanimously passed a bill that would give the penalty to those who commit these crimes against children. Yes. That bill should be enacted here now in Ireland. We should be doing the exact same thing. If I ran this country, you would see this be passed tomorrow. That's exactly what would be happening. There would be no talk, no debate, no nothing when it comes to this. It would be passed tomorrow. And the large majority of people would agree with that. They'd say, that's a great job. And anyone that dissented and decided that that wasn't a good idea are people to be put on a list and people to be watched. It's very simple, is it not? But look at this. 8,122 goofs that need their hard drives checked need to be looked into by serious enforcement of the law, that's what I will say, into this person. Ali, who's then decided to delete this tweet, I am warning all LGBTQ plus Floridians, members of the media, lawyers, attorneys, allies, and essentially anyone who will listen. I understand the seriousness of what I'm about to say. This law will be used to do this to LGBTQ plus people or anyone who affirms LGBTQ plus youth. Did you just admit that these people are all Greedos from Star Wars? Is that what you just did? That seems to be what you just did. And that's something that a lot of people have been saying for the last few years. Now, listen, you know me and I know you. And I think that if you're someone that is one of these three here, you know, I think whatever you're doing behind closed doors, once you're a legal consenting adult, you do whatever you're doing, all right? You're not harming me, you're not bothering me, you're doing your own thing. And once it's with legal consenting adults, that's cool. But this group over here now, they're the ones to be watching, because the first three here are starting to cut flags and stuff like that and are telling this gang they ain't welcome. We told you that this was what this was going to lead to. We told you three that entering these people into your group was going to only lead to this. And now you have this person up here conflating you with these people. I'm just telling you, that's exactly how this looks. And this person decided to block their replies, as all of these great thinkers and free speech advocates do. Interesting that, isn't it? But yeah, Florida leading the way, lads. I tell you what, I really like Florida and what they're doing. No messing there. Here's something else that's been going on during the week. BT Sport wishing Wojciech Szczesny all the best. The Juventus goalkeeper left the pitch against Sporting Lisbon after experiencing chest pains. So this is happening again. There's a 31-year-old NFL player as well the other day that is no longer with us now. Very similarly, what happened to him happened to Jamie Foxx. We'll talk about Jamie Foxx now in a moment. And not good. So this stuff is still rocking on. This Wojciech Szczesny thing as well wasn't talked about much. They said they did an ECG on him. They said it came back all gravy, nothing wrong with it. But here's the thing, right? And this is what an awful lot of people out there don't get. Because there's people that were like, he actually has been smoking for the last 14 years. So that's probably added to it. I see your point. I'm not disagreeing with that. The smoking's not good. It's not good for you. However, these are athletes that are regularly checked upon, regularly go through medicals, and the team in the medical department missed that. So they missed Wojciech Szczesny. They missed Sergio Aguero. They missed, who was it there that was at Bayern Munich? Kingsley Coman. They missed Victor Lindelof. I don't know about you, lads. They missed Christian Eriksen as well. That seems like a lot of people to have gotten through or have flown underneath the radar, I should say, over the last few years, isn't it? That's a lot of people. I don't know about you. That seems really weird to me. I just had to show you this here. An honour to receive POTUS President Biden the family. In his own words in the visitor's book, there is nothing Ireland and the United States cannot achieve when we work together. Ireland were the lowercase I, by the way. Now, this is probably some staffer that probably dislikes Ireland as much as this fella does, to be quite honest. And what disrespect being shown to Ireland. 43.9 likes, so 43.9k views, 660 likes. Mad, isn't it? How come you can't crack 1,000 on that? That's nuts. Teacher tells of the harrowing effect of long sniffles. As she says, sufferers are the science community. You're injured, love. That's what's wrong with you. You're injured, hon. Like, get out the program here now. There's something up there, you know? We have the long-term sniffles. That was the last one on that one, wasn't it? Yeah, anyway, what we'll do is we'll throw in some more as well. I'll show you now some more images that we have from during the week. Love this, I do. So this is what I was talking about the three rat emojis anyway. Like, look at the Burns fella over here, Mr. Burns. He's like Mr. Burns out of The Simpsons, anyone that's listening, and the two boys over here now that are talking to him. Like, I haven't looked at this podcast. This was sent to me, it was, right? But see this group here, Go Loud. Go Loud are owned by a group called Bauer. That's a German company. So a German company owns the large majority of these podcasts that are being pushed and are being put into the likes of Vicar Street and all this. And we're selling out Vicar Street selling out. Listen, I'm not going to say too much in terms of being a big-headed or egotistical person, but I could probably sell out Vicar Street. Okay? It's not that hard to do. Am I going to go to Vicar Street? No. But could I do it? I've seen acts that have gone and sold out Vicar Street that are very, I suppose, they wouldn't be really well known. So like going there and going, we did a sellout show on Vicar Street. Right. And then you have people in the comments that are like, you should do the 3 Arena next. Really? You think 14,000 people are going to show up to listen to these two? Especially after this. And these people have been compromised now for quite some time. They've been compromised insofar as they're bringing people onto the show that are spouting all sorts of nonsense and are spouting things that are counterproductive and counterintuitive to nationalism and patriotism. Okay? And having this fella on is the culmination of all of that. How it could get worse from here now is if they brought the Viraga fella on, which is probably going to be set up in the next 6 months, I'd say. Because this is the next move. What I was talking to earlier on about the media and media literacy and how the media are losing, they're moving towards this here now. They have moved towards the podcast game. They have said to themselves, we're losing the people on the likes of TV and social media because we're turning comments off. Now we're going to do podcasts where we can talk at them through these two goofs here. Okay? And I've no qualms with calling these two goofs. Because to have this fella on the show says an awful lot about you. Now people would say, well, you have to have open dialogue with these people. This fella is sitting here in a chair having a laugh with these two after what he's done over the last few years. This fella should have been grilled. And they'll go, well, you know, they asked about the housing and said it wasn't right and like that. What about the sniffles nonsense? What about all that? What about the people that didn't get to meet loved ones as they were drawing their last breaths? What about the people that didn't get to meet loved ones as they were taking their first breaths? What about all of the other stuff in between? Missed time. 2 years basically wiped the people's lives over nothing because they've shown you it's over nothing when they decided to open the bars in the country and they've left everyone and anyone in. Any checks on passports there, lads? Don't worry about that. But I'll tell you what, if they check whether you took something there for a company that's not taking any liability with a criminal history to get into the pub, the cinema, the restaurant, you can tell I'm still peeved about this, and I forever will be peeved about this. A bit of a loss there, lads. And this fella's sitting there, and at one stage of the game, the clip that they put up, he's having a laugh and a joke. They're like, the aliens invading, are they? The Pentagon has literally said that 24 hours ago. Why would you say this fella? And your man's like, oh, sure, they're already here. And he's pointing at them. Yeah, 2 alien heads on these fellas here. Look at the head. Look at the mush of this thing here. It's like something out of the Men in Black. And that's for this fella. Oh my God. But this is what's been driven towards people in Ireland and indeed in the world. Podcasting has a big influence on people now, and especially the youth. And there's people that are going to go in and listen to this and be like, I actually walked away from that there and didn't think he was that bad of a fella. Now, if they had Philip Dwyer or Derek Bloig or Satirical Soldier interviewing this fella, different story, I would say. And again, as I've said beforehand, these two fellas, from what I understand, haven't reached out to Philip Dwyer. That's weird, isn't it? Weird that they don't want any different voices on the more establishing nonsense. So like I said earlier on, I put up the old emojis and someone said, Ninja, that's bang out of order. At least rats have spines. And I was like, nice. So anyway, lads, this happened today. Blocked by Garda Info. What's the story here? What's going on? Now, I put it up and I said, this is absolutely hilarious because, as you know, I am not someone, particularly on Twitter, I am not someone to abuse people. I don't do it because I know they have to play the game on Twitter. And also as well too, I've quoted them a couple of times and been like, lads, this is bang out of order. And it's come to them promoting, as we'll see now, the, I would say, job, the people that have only rocked into the country. And it seems like a comment offended whoever's running this account. Now, if the comment that I made is the one that offended this account, that's setting a precedent of where things are going to go and shows you that there are multiple bad eggs in this organization and that someone, whoever the social media manager of this is a very, very easily offended individual. It's not a good precedent, lads, I'm telling you that. So anyway, we'll get into it here. This is where the comment came from. So what I did was over the last 24 hours, I said any comment that I made towards him, and there's only 2 that I had made that the profile was linked in with. So you've got this here, Dr. Leaky Remen. That is a fake name if ever I've heard one insofar as that's like something you'd hear off The Simpsons, isn't it? It's like when Bart Simpson used to call up Moe's Tavern. Have you seen Seymour Butts? And Moe's there going, hey, looking for Seymour Butts. And the lads are going, ah! It's Leaky Remen. Anyway, man charged circular saw who terribly attacked his tenant, international doctor, in front of his kids and wife has been arrested. There's also a shocking revelation of his son to the doctor that his father took advice from on-duty Garda info. He can cut down the door legally. Okay, so what this is about is nearly 250,000 views there, by the way. Just 1,216 likes, though. I don't know about you. That's very little. What had happened during the week, because I'm not going to show you the video because the platform might say that's very naughty, because this is how this platform rolls. I'll take you through the scene. There was a fella that knocked on the door. Your man's behind the door, this fella from a different country, and he's saying, you're not coming in. And your man says, no, you have to get in here now. And so he starts with a saw, starts taking the circular saw to cut the lock on the door, right? So when he cuts the lock on the door, your man opens the door and goes, what are you doing? And your man says, no, I have to take the house back now. So allegedly what had happened was the guy that had been renting the house allegedly hadn't paid rent in months. Speculatively, allegedly. And that's why he was coming back. And the Gardaí stood over it, allegedly, speculatively, there and then. Due to social media and the conflab that was had from the likes of this guy here, they've now gone and arrested the fella that had the circular saw with him. All I said, as you can see here, is if people aren't happy in Ireland, they can return to wherever they came from. That's all I said. That's all I said there. And I hold that opinion about anywhere you go. If I go to a country and I don't like it there, I'll come home. Or I'll go somewhere else. Or I won't go there again. So, to me, to decide then, no, we're going to take it like this. I don't know about you, but that says an awful lot about them than it does me. You had a couple of goofs here that were like, you can leave and just close the door on the way back. Listen, comprehension is not your strong point. I said, if anybody isn't happy here in Ireland, they can return where they came from. I come from Ireland, dipstick. So, this is my country. I ain't going nowhere. People be like, you said you were going to Florida 10 minutes ago. Listen, I like Florida. I do. So, you've got a situation now at hand where a guy is trying to access his property because this eviction ban is going to create more incidents like this, and everyone saw that this cause and effect was going to happen. Everybody saw this because they said landlords that can't get these people out are going to take more drastic measures. We've already seen it now. Was it 2 weeks in? And now you've got people that are putting out stories and there's conflicting information going on. Doesn't seem to be any sort of truth to the matter being published out yet. This is what I'm saying to you about Garda info, and it goes to show you as well too how petty and how ridiculous they are. If you have a police force that's transparent with people and puts out statements like what should have been done with Finglas at that time, if they come out and they put on a statement and say, this is what we're doing, this is how we're investigating it, and this is the current facts of the matter of what happened, and here we go, that would be happy days, to be all gravy. Now at the moment, there's conjecture, there's thoughts, there's speculation all over social media about this. Now a fella's been arrested, and they're like, oh, well, he got arrested because he was aggressive. Right, yeah. The media seemed to quieten down really quickly after what happened to the two lads in Sligo, didn't it? So, like I said, if you're not happy here, head on home, is what I'll say. We'll get on to that now in a moment. The other thing that I had said, as you can see here, could potentially lead into why I was blocked. So again, like I said, 24 hours and I've been blocked. To me, it would be to do with the comments that I made in the last 24 hours. This guy here, Paddy Eyre, how much does it trigger you that they are staying here and more are coming? Lol. Again, this is your Cromwellian fan. This is your Black and Tans fan. This is your Imperial Empire fan. It's what this individual is and has the gall to have Paddy Eyre. And now, I suppose Eyre and Marx, satirical soldier be furiously in the chat being like, that's a fella, that's a Marxist, that's what that is, with the tricolour there. Lols, your country is being overrun by people that are going to go up to shenanigans and all sorts of other things that they're doing. And then I wrote underneath it, again, this is what comes with being on social media, okay? 172 views, no likes. 35 views, 3 likes. And as I said, it'll be you that they bully, not me. And I said the same thing in the quote. I was like, it won't be me that they be bullying, it'd be you. So when you were saying to me, oh, Ninja Knight, you're afraid of people coming here and I'm upsetting the apple cart and upsetting you, they won't be bullying me. That won't be happening. It's people like you, though, that they look at and they'll say, that's a target. Not me. So all of these people, and how do I know this? Because all of these people that are at the, Ireland for All, welcome everybody rallies and all this sort of stuff, have you seen what these people look like? Calcium deficient individuals, board bound individuals, people that are as slender as that they will fit through probably a gap in the door, and others then that are as wide as a gate. I'm not going to be a target. Definitely not me. I'm telling you that now. It'll be you. So again, this is just cause and effect. And as I explain all of the time, these people are turkeys voting for Christmas. Let's go back to this here and have a look at some of the other nonsense that's going on. Kildare Garda Division trainee Garda Miriam Thomas. Thomas? Is that a man's name? Well, she could identify as one, We're really unsure as to what's going on here nowadays. Fernandez tells her story about joining on Garda Síochána. I'm from Spain. Moved to Ireland 6 years ago, and nowadays I'm a guard. I mean, like this, I don't even have to even expand upon that. I really don't. It says it all itself. You've got the Green Party here again, Senator Pauline O'Reilly. Look at your man there now as well too. Look, I mean the Ireland gear. Yeah, throw the Ireland gear on you, and you're as Irish there now as Shay giving a car share. Cuppa in Cork with our new candidate Honor Kamengi. Transport and solar power revolution were the topics of conversation. Yeah, I'm sure that these people that come from places that have, what's it called, corrugated sheeting and gaffs and all that, and now mud huts, they know all about solar power and everything like that. Geniuses. How come they're not helping out their own countries? That's really weird, isn't it? It's really weird that these people that come over here and tell us what to do are people that go from their own countries. How come that they weren't an electable person over there? That's strange, isn't it? And meanwhile, you've got the green sellouts that are over here. Look at this. I tell you, do you know what it is? 99% of the problem, I'd say, are people like this here that you wouldn't get up on to get over a gate hanging around with fellas like that probably would. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? You catch my drift? This is exactly what's going on. Oh, stop. Great to be in the Rebel County. How disappointing. Garda info. This isn't something now. This wasn't, commenting on this or anything. Garda David Clark visited Sligo Riverside Mosque to speak about our ongoing recruitment campaign. We working hard. We're working hard to become fully representative of the communities we serve, and we're hoping to attract people from all backgrounds to join on the Garda Síochána. Lads, they told us that it was a conspiracy theory that these people will be coming to police us. They said that's a conspiracy theory. What do you think? The boys look happy as well too there. Look at them. Anyway, here's more of it. Being a police service that reflects the diversity of the communities that we proudly serve is important to us. Community Guard Aidan O'Mahony was warmly welcomed at the mosque in Tralee over the weekend, where he met with the Imam Mustafa Patel. So again, more promotion there. I have a friend of mine, allegedly, speculatively, I'm going to say that, from an Eastern European country, and he said that any time that these people tried to come in and settle in with one of these things, that Eastern European country used to do a couple of things that made sure that they wouldn't be doing that. Again, allegedly, speculatively. There you go, guys. That's Garda info for you there. That's great, lads. Well done. You have just proved points there for a lot of people, and you actually found out there, guys, that the comment that they blocked me for was the softest thing you'd probably ever see. I probably said a couple of harsher things to them in fairness, like taking the mick out of them and saying, lads, you're out of sync there now with these things. And that was the one that got me. Imagine. The Guardian. Dim in the Sun. 100 million geoengineering Ninja can't speak after 2 hours. Geoengineering research program proposed. Look at this. This is what I was talking about this earlier on. People would be like, you were off your bonds there now, man. This is the stuff. Look, they're actually telling you. America's race to zero emissions. All options to fight climate crisis must be explored, says National Academy, but critics fear side effects. Yeah, look at that. That's not normal. It brings a whole new meaning to the phrase under the weather, doesn't it? God knows what's been spread in this sort of stuff here. Do you know what I mean? 100 million, they're telling you, yeah, we're going to do that. Why am I showing you this? Well, this is probably going to factor into a video I'm going to do later on. I put up a tweet on Twitter. I did decent numbers at this. Oh my God, you have to knock on something over there. I put this tweet up I did. Now, if you look at the faces amongst here, what's this? You're like, a lot of white people, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's Star Wars Celebration, by the way. So for the last couple of years there, where Star Wars tried to appeal to anybody and everybody but white men, they've just attracted white men to the convention in the UK. Amazing that, isn't it? Majority white men. People are like, are you having a go with white men? I'm like, no. After all of the things that they've done over the last few years, they haven't attracted majority of the people that they have aimed it for. So here's the thing: if you boycott Star Wars, they can't create anymore. That's what I'm saying to you. Look at this. This could be us, but white people force us to live like this. This is a meme that's down the rounds now as well on Twitter. This is some laugh now, and this is a very very appropriate thing, because it's usually people sitting in apartments or flats or houses like this wearing the best clobber on laptops and iPhones like that are like, the white people are totally against us. Yeah, all right, mate. That's what you'll be wearing, and that's what you'll be living in if we're for this country, giving you all sorts. You know what I mean? And again, listen, I've made to mine, and I said this during the week on Twitter. I've a mate of mine that's from a particular African country, and he said the same to me. I said it to you, I think 2 weeks ago. He was just like, I don't want any more people coming over here from Africa. And I was like, really? And he said, no. He's like, listen. And then, like, last week, there was a video that was put up there on Twitter, and it was fellas that were standing outside the house thinking that they were doing London drill, whatever it's called. And they're like, yeah, we're the Dublin boys, pop, 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 pop. And they're all going, with their face covering it on. And I was just like, uh-oh, this is what they've imparted, guys. Bad idea. And this guy is back himself. He was just like, I don't want any of these people living around my area. I was like, that's fascinating, isn't it? So, this is another fantastic meme where the woke used to live before the 70s. Need to make these great again, make these great again and reopen them. Reopening them would be a great idea. Went through that one there, Ron. Did I do this here? Yeah, I did. Do that one. But Sergio Ron doing that as well. Let's have a look at this as well too. Another one. I love when things remind me. Your man from the script, no longer with us, 46 years of age. No explanation or anything like that for what happened to him. Brief illness. Brief illness is always a thing that they like to use. Here's what the script were looking for though. On the 22nd of October, they were looking for measures in place for the show. To be admitted, you need to show proof of Voldemorting, and you received the second one there. So 46 years of age. Don't worry about that, guys. Nothing to be worried about. Don't think about it at all. 22nd of February 23. That's a vote, by the way. Just so you know. So the place there packed to the rafters, as I was saying earlier on there for old Joe. But that's a vote. Look at the place. Empty. Empty. That's very telling, is it not? Now, our meat hall was very well oiled, probably in this picture here. Now, a lot of other people suggested something else there. But look at the mush. What's going on here? Look at the mush of them. What is going on? Were you hanging around with Hunter Biden, by any chance? Is that what you were doing? Well, he was weird, because Hunter was pictured all around the place. We'll have a picture of him now in a second, do we? Hang on. There you go. That man's lurking around the pictures. Now, I'm telling you this, right? There's one picture out there of him around the Kenny, and there's another picture where he's going around the town. I think it was in Dundalk, was it? And he's shaking hands with people, right? Like, how is this fella granted admission into this country? Now, I mean, how was this fella granted admission into the country? But look at him. Look at him. Oh, he's on the camera right there, lads. This is your man. Look. Anyway, April 2021, Gardaí break up a mass in Athlone. I think I showed this before. February 2021, Muslims leaving a mosque in Dublin after Friday prayers. Nice one there, lads. Look at this. That's amazing. There's a picture that's after getting out there, by the way. I can't show it. I can't because what's shown in it. But he has a specific tattoo on his back. Right? And that's the specific tattoo on his back. References lakes in New York, as far as I know. And those lakes in the last week have been outed to be hosting all sorts of things. And I mean things that Florida are actually actively doing things about. I don't know about you, but Florida's leading the charge anyway with these things. I like what Florida's doing. But yeah, look. Jamie Foxx. Okay, so Jamie Foxx has had a stroke during the week again. This doesn't, listen, I'm someone that reads these things out. I'm just talking to you about them because these need to be talked about, because not being talked about in the media. And also as well too, I know that this might frighten people and people might say, oh, well, we're over this, not that, and I don't think about this. You have to look at situations like this and ask yourself, what's going on? 2021, Jamie Foxx, act like you got some sense, book tour. All shows will require attendees to provide proof of a negative test or full, Voldemorting at least 2 weeks. They also need proof must be of a copy of a negative test or Voldemort or original Voldemort card. Jamie Foxx rushed to hospital after suffering a stroke, April 13th, 2023. So there you go. Who knows what's going on? Like, I don't know about you, but certainly I'm looking at these things and saying to myself, someone needs to be, and I mean, boys like this, they need to be held accountable for that. This fella won't make this for people. People actually had to take this to go to work in America, and people were frightened. And the same was being bandied about here in Ireland. You were never getting me. I wasn't ever taking that stuff. But you've also then got this here, Thomas Massey, your primary care provider was bribed to suggest you should take this stuff here. So he's publishing this document. I don't know where he's gotten it from, but money just changing hands here. It was that there 30% Anthem members, Voldemort 20 bonus per Voldemort member, 75% of them, $125 bonus per member. So these payouts were the same here in Ireland. Now that's the image I wanted to show you. Look at the place there, full to the brim, the IRL, Joe. And then you've got that there. That's a vote on the 23rd of February. You know what I mean? Look at all the hangers on sat around there. There's people there that you probably look at the chin on your man over here. He's like Jay Leno. He'd like Desperate Dan. I'd like the Tick as well too out of that TV series. But there you go. The scripts there, and Jamie Foxx, and then an NFL player, and then a Wojciech Szczesny in the last week or so. No questions to be asked, though, lads. Don't be worrying about that. We leave you with some bright stuff here, though, this evening, lads. Anheuser-Busch. So this is the company that owns Bud Light. Loses more than $5 billion in value amid Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light controversy. Visible happiness. I like when these things happen. Now, what I suggest, and what has been suggested by Lisa Matt Walsh and other people, is keep going. Keep the boycott up. And what will happen is this business will be driven into the ground. Now, people would say, well, enough is enough at some stage and like that. No, you need to be making an example of Bud Light. That's what needs to be happening. And it will make an example so much so that other companies will be too afraid to do things like this. And rightfully so, because that's where we're at right now, where you need to be punishing these companies for what they're doing. I'm telling you, that's the way people need to go. You can't just abide by this stuff and say nothing. We're coming to the point in time where you need to go, no, I'm not having this now, and then actively have a say in what goes on. You know, that's a lot of me now. The Daily Caller says that the group says stay away, and what has Florida done? Well, they're at the back in that now, that penalty. So, I don't know about you, lads, doesn't look good. New York Post from February 14, 2023, just got by me, but this has made a resurgence during the week, this story. Scientists switch off autism symptoms using $3 epilepsy drug. Now, in this study, by the way, they said that they were able to turn autism on in mice. How? So you know how to turn it on and you know how to turn it off. This is weird, lads. I'm telling you. Very strange. Are we invading? No way. This planet is hilarious. We want nothing to do with a backward-looking idea of sovereignty. 2016. This was one of the things that I was showing you earlier on. I was telling you about earlier on. World organizations use this. Yeah, look, listen. I'm only saying it's a talking point that I find interesting, to be honest. 2007, global warming is destroying the planet. Must raise taxes. 2019 and 2023, same shtick that they're playing all the time, lads. There's been a rise in hateful content on Twitter. Give me an example. I can't. You just lied. No, I saw it a few weeks ago, but I can't give you an example. I haven't looked at that feed in a while. Lol. Lads, I tell you what, I enjoy myself doing these things. So the leeching thing, I'm going to show you that now in a moment. I have a Hasbro video coming out there. Uncivil stuff going on among top officials on Botch Houlihan appointment to Trinity College Dublin. This fellow should be in jail. On post boss seen as too entrepreneurial to lead RTE. Consternation at board level after David McRedmond dropped from interview process for Director General role, while chairwoman to face questions over leaks. Defund RTE is what I said. Both family have keen understanding the legal system, so why are they waging a futile issue against it? It's not futile, it's quite the opposite. They're showing the justice system to be exactly what it is and what everyone has thought it is over the last number of years. So it's totally defunct. Derek Bloig is serving AIB Mitchelstown. Awesome to see. Great to see. He has a YouTube channel. Make sure you're following him over there. And oh yeah, here we go. The firm headed by late employment lawyer Richard Grogan de Close. That's a fella that is no longer with us now. You know, spent a lot of time taking the mickey out of people as well too over the sniffles. INTO condemned CPSMA over letter on Doubtfire issues. Primary school teachers have condemned remarks made by managers of the country's Catholic primary schools about the teaching of Doubtfire issues in schools. Listen to me. That's the union saying that they disagree with the Catholic Church. You know, think of that what you will, and I would say contact that union and tell them what you think about that. That's some of the stuff that we had there. Digital nomad visa. Bad idea. Hey guys, we're going to put this on TikTok. It looks great. Nah, bad idea. 7 signs that you might have autism. Didn't exist when I was young for it, and now it's rampant. What's the story with that? Dalai Lama apologizes after doing that to a boy and asking them to do that. Open and out now, lads. We're in the end gang now, as Dr. Strange said. They're all showing you what they are. Let's have a look now. I don't know what that was said there. Neon Revolt. That's either Irish supermarket warns customers to be wary of fake social media page scam. And the stock image, that's what I was saying. Why does the stock image use a black hand? That's something that Bill Troy, Africans and Irish adverts for some reason does always say as well. How come they use stock images like that? Yeah, you agree? And as I said as well in this video, Kamara Usman, Nigerian, he is African. Dricus Duplessis. People are like, well, he's there centuries. Sure, but he's African. He's African. You know, I'm siding with this guy on that because I'm consistent. Very consistent. So let's have a look at the last thing now, this Lee Chin situation. So the media were running around telling you what a disgraceful thing that happened to Lee Chin, and then they wouldn't post the remarks. Hang on just for a second. This thing is going to probably just jump at me now.
Hey, fucking
no, yay, we got that at the right time. Now, the media were running around rampant, and they were telling people, oh my God, Lee Chin had ist remarked to him. Okay, can you name what those remarks were? No, they were so ist, we couldn't say them. There was a young lad attacked in Galway there by fellas that definitely weren't from this country. He was reporting on that and talking about that ad nauseum and en masse. No? Right, okay. He's really interested in the Lee Chin thing now. So let's see what was said.
Hey, fucking China, man! Come on! Hey, fucking China, man! You start! What the fuck is this? You're a dirty racist bastard! You are here a fucking you're straight!
Now, the media went mental about that until what happened was the likes of myself and other people posted that video online in response to the media. And we said, this is all that was said. And a couple of goofs were like, it's in this default thing. Okay. First of all, Lee Chin's father is Chinese. Was it Chinese Malaysian it is, right? So Chinese Malaysian, and that's what he is. Okay? So he came over and he married Lee Chin's mother, who was Irish. Fair enough. Grant. You couldn't be any more Chinese then by opening a Chinese restaurant. That's what the old boy did, right? So when these people are talking about, oh my God, I can't believe you called it Chinaman. Do you know what that would be like? That would be like me going to America, being with an American woman, having a child, and then opening a pub, right? And then me getting offended and him getting offended if he was on an NFL team being called, hey, Irishman. That's exactly what it is. It's like going to Australia and marrying an Australian board, having a child, opening a pub, him playing AFL, and then him being called an Irishman. Now, in the last week and a half, James McLean, whatever way you want to talk about, was also crying on social media. It's something he regularly does. And he says, I was in the stands, or no, what was he saying? I was beside the stands and I was called a Fenian this and an Irish that and all that. So what? Like, who cares? Now, but that's the attitude that most people have. Meanwhile, you've got the likes of Rashford and Saka and all these guys out there, and the likes of the media wanting to run around and talk about this and say, oh, we're going to have a 92-week ban for the Spectator. Like, nonsense. Like I said earlier on, if I had a child and I was over in America and they were playing NFL and he's called Irishman, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that's what he is. Like, that's the absurd world you live in now. And I'm sure if we were to sit Lee Chin down and talk to Lee Chin or whatever about that, I'm sure he wouldn't give a fiddler's about it. You know? I think most people wouldn't. And like I said earlier on, when you just give a specific example like that as to what it would be if he went to some other country and did the same thing, nobody'd be bothered whatsoever. But the media were bothered on his behalf, is what I'm saying. That's what it seemed like to me. It seemed like the media were very upset on his behalf. It didn't seem like there was many, or any comments from him to say that he was upset. And then, of course, then you've got the other goons in the team going, oh my God, you're an istophobe. Now, listen, there's other words that would be shared with Lee if they were going to be called ist, and it's certainly not Chinaman. I mean, pointing out the obvious here is now being called istophobe by the media, and that's something that we already knew was going to happen anyway, and it's something that they've been driving towards for a very long time. Common sense and logic and rationality and, you know, a bit of a laugh. This is what happens at these games. You know, is it right? Well, that's up to you to decide. But when you're men playing a game, men say all things and different things, and then when you see it in the fighting game, sure, not too long ago, I think they were talking about fighters and how disrespectful they were to one another. That's what they're supposed to do when they're leading up to a fight. That's what Conor McGregor was doing when he was leading up to Jose Aldo. It's what Chael Sonnen did when he was fighting as well too. He insulted the whole country of Brazil. It's what Colby Covington is doing right now, is insulting the whole country of Brazil. That's the idea. To put bums in seats, and because there is a form of tribalism in people and will always be there. Like, the fact that people are trying to get away from it is baffling, but it's driven on to me by an awful lot of people that have never played sport, and also then by a lot of women in particular that have now gotten involved, particularly in the men's game, and are saying, oh, I don't think this should be said. Things like this have been said for all time. And I'm sure that Lee Chin, being an inter-county player, is no saint himself, and I'm sure he's not said nice things all of the time either. Again, like I said, pure nonsense. It needs to be grown up and getting on over it. But that's the media in a nutshell for you. I can't show you the other video, obviously, from Galway because of what happens in the video. But there's an Irish lad being chased down through the town, is on the ground, and is being kicked, and is being assaulted, and then was mugged. Okay? Media, totally silent about that. Zero interest in them from that. So that's where you're at. But like I said beforehand, if you keep sharing those videos and send them around to people, it exposes more. And then when the media have to play catch up and do things and say things like the ridiculous thing that they're saying with relation to the Lee Chin situation, and you go, doesn't seem like you're interested in the Galway student being kicked around the town, but you're interested in the fella over there apparently being hurt, his feelings being hurt by hurty words. Chinaman. But sure, like, that's accurate. Like, as I said, been called an Irishman across somewhere else. So that's where we're at, lads, anyway. What I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the chat. Thanks very much to everybody that jumped in here and said hello as well to anyone that listened to me for this long as well. I appreciate that. We're at 2:19. I'm not doing too bad now this evening. I've gone through as much as possible, as quick as possible. And I will see you next week, 7:30 Irish time. I'm going to jump into the chat and say hello to a few people, and then we'll close out the show from there. All right. So thanks again, guys. Much appreciated. Let's have a look now through the chat, see what's going on. Rokas sends a 2 super sticker. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Derek Man says, lol, it would be nice to do pop culture once in a while. Yeah, I'll be definitely doing that. General Purposes, big up from an exile in Portugal. Rokas says, well done, Ninja. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. Cash is king. A lot of people saying in the chat as well, too, which is great to see. Emmanuel Godson with a very accurate comment there. Jesus is king. Absolutely 100%. Elena is in here. Says, you're back. Ak says, Joe Biden, the sniffer. The sniffer, he's some man. Anyway, I don't know how you got into this country, but it goes to show you the sort of nonsense that goes on here with this country. of the people that they let in. Have a look here. General purposes, they were going to tell us on Sunday, but everyone's turned off their phones. Oh yeah, by the way, you can turn off the emergency. Was it the emergency alert in your phones if you go into settings and you go into emergency alerts? A lot of people are very aware of Sunday. They're trying to send out a big wave of messages or something like that. So a lot of people are like, yeah, take the take the head on that and go, nah, I don't want to do that. Saladin says, Ninja Knight, that girl in Waterford, man, some sick stuff out of foot. I'm not really sure about that now, what that means. There's so much goes on that sometimes I can't get some stories. Eric McManus says, Ninja said the L-boy, take a drink, folks. Is that the new one? Is it the L-boy? Do I say that a lot as well, too? I'll always say I will. Armchair Limerick Nationalist sends a 5, says, sound for the stream, Ninja. Thanks very much, man. Much appreciated. Good to see you here. Another person that's been here a long time. Boycotts says, I did indeed. It's talking about the red shoe stuff there in Canada. Mad stuff, isn't it? Elena says, Ninja Knight, what do you think of the new Gettr car? The K or car. Oh, stop. How could you not laugh at them at this point in time? Imagine them rolling up to a mosque in that. That'd be funny to view that now, it would, wouldn't it? I doubt that they would anyway. Have a look here now. Oxygen Advocate says, oh, I thought I had started at 7. I good. I've missed out. Greetings, Ninja. Says at 7:48. Much appreciated that you're in here, man. How good to see you. Yeah, sometimes I could start at, well, I aim to start at 7:30. I think the last time I started at 8 o'clock, it was just because the technology wasn't built up for me. Steve Dixon says, Ninja, you should try and organise a session. Derek man, it's he's the man that organises the sessions, man. Seriously. Give him a shout. Derek man says, Laser Pants might not have realised what he jumped into. Laser Pants then says, I like this kind of stuff too. I'm not only into toys. Welcome to the madhouse, Laser Pants. Good to see you here. Keep going. Derek man says, I found that a severe punishment is good for the criminal element. Yeah, it's very good, obviously. A lot of the Dirty Hutch memes are very funny, I have to say. Derek man says, execute Order 66. Liza Pan says, yeah, we got lots of boomstick. Keep them lit, man. Honestly, that's what I'd say. Zoe Gilday says, Ninja Knight, why was Bertie Ahern doing push-ups? Oh, I saw that. Zoe's making a great point there. It wasn't Bertie Ahern. We'll just say that. We'll make that very clear. But there was a fella on O'Connell Street here in Dublin, in the main street of Dublin, in the nip, doing push-ups. Like, that's where we're at, lads. The Dublin city centre is in a bad way. Like man's going to say, take a drink, boys. But the old boy actually was in there not too long ago. He was just like, oh my God. He's like, Dublin city centre is like Gotham. And I said, I know, I told you. I said that to you a while ago. I said, it used to be like Metropolis a little bit. But now it's like Gotham. So you go in and every sort of scanner is hanging around the place. It's absolutely horrible being in there. I'm not coming to a town near you. That's the idea. As they're all talking about noodle arms there, Mr. Burns. What's his face? Michal Martin. Keep going here through the chat there. Have a good bit of the chat to go through. I need to catch up about 2 hours worth. Elena says, Ninja Knight, Patriots have to stop lamenting the lack of women and children. Militarized men are bad enough, but women will breed like rabbits and children grow into adults and drain resources. That's a fair point, Elena. I actually agree with you on that one. I've seen a lot of people talking about that, and they've been saying women and children like that. Like, you know, you just have to walk up and down Moore Street and have a look at some of the women and children there and realise that there's a certain community that has come to Ireland. Now, they will say they're Romanian. The Romanian people have nothing to do with them. They say, no, nothing to do with us. And they have come here and they are absolutely taking over the place. Like, there's so many of them. And they seem to contribute little to nothing in society here now. But like to drain it. Ian Cordy says, yeah, the painter from Austria, a litre of milk gone from 75 cents to €1.15. Seriously tough on families with young children, 100%. The painter from Austria says, yeah, and it's €6 in petrol to get there and I'm back. Tax into poverty, says SGD, yeah. Farm allowances and providing benefits for all the illegals and legals in Ninja Knight. Yeah, tax on your dog, Mick O'Keefe says as well, yeah. No tax on cats, though. Funny that, isn't it? Even after you buy your house 100%, you pay tax on it till you die. Seems legit, so solid. Then you also pay an inheritance tax, and then there's a couple of other things that go on there as well. They make sure they get as much money out of it as possible. It's actually unbelievable. Like, you have people's parents that are out there that own their own houses. They're charging them property tax on it because they own the house, so they're paying more money out on that. If they don't pay the property tax, they're just going to accumulate and take the money off the house then when someone decides to sell it. pure scam. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable. And then the inheritance tax is another scam. That's absolutely out there. And a lot of solicitors, they'll all talk about that, and they say to me, you know, I can't believe that this has been left go. It really, really doesn't. It makes sense how people just go, and like I said, people here in Ireland are too docile. Like, not the people here in the chat, but there's a lot of people that are just docile about this, and like, just can't seem to fathom the idea how much they're being ripped off, and like, well, that's the one thing I suppose about them importing certain people, like of Eastern European friends of mine are not like that. They're just like, I'm not having this. And like, these people are serious. They mean business. They've come from bad times and bad places. Lizapan says, thank you, Ninja. We try. I do a great job, you do, lads. Really interesting stream. I always enjoy them, I do. And now you have an articulated Ninja on tonight. I'll be able to jump in there and have a chat in the chat, lads. Yeah. Have a look. People talking about BBC. Well, this is good man Ninja. Thanks very much. We've got CST says evening, folks. Sheepdog says you should have called him a donkey, Ninja Night. Lol. I'm only at 8 o'clock on the stream. I'm at the like going through about 2 or 3 pages here, and it's like brrr, and then it's like 8 o'clock, and I was like, oh my god. Has anyone seen any good TV shows or anything like that lately? Any movies? Don't make is the best thing we've seen in ages. Point Man says, evening, folks. Hope you're all well. Good to see you here. Jack says, who's interviewing who here? Well, I think that the Elon Musk video was fascinating because I think he brought those people there to precisely do exactly what he did there, which was ask questions. Kevin Coyle says, Queeveen, you're in here as well too. This fella, by the way, lads, see this fella here, right? Queeveen, Kevin Coyle. This guy is awesome. The memes that this fella puts out here are top of the pops and constant. That's the type of people we need. Meme generators. We need these memes on the front line because they're getting to people real quick. Regarding the TV license tax, that is true. It's a way they definitely get it from you. They are bad people. All they are taxes for breeding next. They would if they could. They would if they could. That's what they probably got. Oh, they're actually giving out too much CO2. Gear up over you. I always say to people, by the way, the Green Party, any time they're out there talking about CO2, all this sort of stuff, I'd be like, well, start with yourself. So if you find it to be a bit of a problem. Mary Shannon says, good evening, everyone. Good to see you here. Neil Oroktig says the Sky News media covered the Andrew Tate story. That shows it all. Yep, 100%. Sean Mack says Garda working at Dublin Airport arrested with €100 worth of, what shall we say, Al Pacino Scarface stuff on her. We say that. B says, Ninja Night, absolute love this news channel, highlight of the week. Thanks very much. Listen, the media put out their articles and I just give my opinion on them. That's all I do, and I just try to keep people informed with things that I see and say, look at they're trying to slip past you without Jerome Reedy says, hello everyone, sorry I'm late, Ninja Night. Police were chasing me in their high heels. That's a cracker. That's a brilliant one there it is. Look at that. That's a cracker of a comment. That's brilliant. Frank Barnett says Matt Watts got his YouTube channel demonetized. No, he did that himself from what I can see. He said that himself because he says he wouldn't go against how he felt and what he thought. And I was like, that's good to know. If I was Elon Musk, I'd be making the move to try and buy this platform next. Rumble's a great alternative, I will say though. I will say it's great. But I think for the general population that only know about this platform, I think it's good, and it would be a good thing if the likes of Musk bought this place. He's shown nothing but good things, and he's certainly better than the previous gang that were there. Bob Malone says Ninja Night Dublin is a dump. We are being exploited and abused for sure. John McAllister says let's go Brandon. 100%. Let's go Brandon. Keep going here now. CFC media may be created, but people have their own brains. I started researching 3 years ago to educate myself because I knew the media wasn't honest. That's a point that I agree with for sure, because the media for sure are not honest with you, and that's my opinion. But also I think that people have started to wake up, and I don't know whether it's purposefully done by them now to actually try and wake people up, but it seems like they try to wake people up and then they try bring people back under a lull again. It's very weird. It's weird being on this side of the fence where I'm like, I wouldn't trust any of these people ever again. And anybody that I know, they feel the same. So how are we going to appeal? How are we going to bring support back? Very difficult. I would say it's impossible. That's why they're aiming towards these podcasts, I think, next. Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, you're costing us a fortune and Gary got allegedly respectively. Oh, man. Did I say too much of it there at that time? Did I say a lot of it allegedly respectively? That doesn't count. That one doesn't count. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. Let's have a look now. Yeah, people are talking about banks and other issues than at a world scale. I wouldn't be concerned about anything more at a world scale. I put up an article, not an article, I keep saying things like that. I put up a poll on Twitter today and I said, how many people, I said, anybody, do you think people with the blue and yellow flag in their profile on social media should be conscripted to go to the blue and yellow flag waving country? And 96% of people, I think I had 200 votes at the time, were like, yes. And one fella that stalks my Twitter, he always screenshot it. He never has the bollocks to actually at me or anything like that in any of the posts and screenshot, but everyone always hits me up and are like, Ninja, look, he's over here at it again. He started to limit his replies because I keep roasting him in the replies, but he was like, look what this fella's doing, and I was like, but you're one of the people I'm referring to. People like you that have that stuff in their profile picture. This fella, by the way, I just find him hilarious because one of the caveats of him going to the blue and yellow flag waving country, he was talking about it, and I says that when you head into the front line, and he says when you head over and join the other side, and I was like, that's not going to work out how you think it's going to work out. Like I'm adept at certain things, like, and I'm just letting you know. I don't have to bark too loud. That's all I'm saying. And he's like, oh, when you were on the other side, yeah, that one won't work out well for you. I'll tell you what, I am on the other side now. How about you head over to the front line and say, oh God. Stop. People talking about Jerry Adams and the brother in the chat there. Yeah. Good to see. A lot of people actually, by the way, anytime Jerry Adams was making comments in the last week, he kept referencing the brother. I was like, people are getting based. People are starting to understand. I think they've long since understood, but I think now it's becoming more clear that the likes of Sinn Féin ain't on your side. Jason Irish Red says, good evening all. Cunnus to thought. Shiv Gular. Welcome back, Ninja Knight. Good to see you here, Jason Red. Elena says, Ninja Knight, the best suggestion I'd like to deal with cashless establishments, get a group together, organise, fill tries, order loads, downs, coffee, walk out, and the ESA card only. I've heard a lot of people doing things like that. Again, all I'm going to say, Elena, is that I'm not condoning, suggesting, endorsing, or anything like that, what I'm saying, and I disavow anyone that's doing that. But there are people that regularly message and are like, BT dubs, you know. Anyway, we'll keep going. Keep going here through the chat. Imagine coming into this chat tonight, and this chat is how it is, and it's been this way for a long time, and being new to it and seeing the Irish like this, it's great. John McAllister is talking, the young nettle would lift you out of it with a sting. Kieran says Schofield and his brother are up to something. Yeah, Philip Schofield has gone on the missing list for the last week and a half. Not looked into that story too much, but I wouldn't be shocked about all of the duplicitousness that went on there. Not only that, then as well too, Holly Willoughby has the is this that one? Has the shingles this week. People are like, How are they pushing on that show again? Jason Irish Fred says, Ninja Knight, where I work, a 6-pack of cans of pedigree dog food has gone up to €14.95. My God, that's out there. That's out there. And a lot of people, by the way, I feel for people as well that are dog owners in particular, because like that, when that goes up, like they're feeling the pinch and the sting on that for sure. Have a look. Paulie Boy says, did you see the clip from ABC News on about cloud seeding? Yeah, cloud seeding's a phrase that's getting out there. People are talking about it now for sure. Yeah, they're actually openly telling you now about, well, it looks like you've noticed the stuff in the sky there, guys. We actually are spraying the sky. Axe says, Ninja Knight, you can get a slab of Coca-Cola cans for a tenner in Bratnock's Bargains, St. Dominic's Tally. F that paying through the roof for them. Oh, that's a good one there. Lets people know. That's a McDonald's says, grow your own food, get some chickens if you have gardens, make your own greenhouses. A lot of people have those. A lot of people have allotments they do as well in their back garden or somewhere else to do. Part of a 1014 talking about Peter with the surname Tatchell. He was very upset. Hang on here now. I'm just trying to see something. Someone was talking about Peter with the second name Tatchell, and someone are like, no, nothing going on there. Anyway, his blue check mark was taken off him and he was very upset. And I was like, Okay, Greedo from Star Wars. Arnold the Saxon says, when they speak of democracy, they don't mean government by the people, they mean financial democracy where money counts and nothing but money. That's the idea for them. 750,000 for farmers in the blue and yellow flag waving country. Absolute joke. Yeah, people are raising money here and sending it over to them, and you're like, the amount of money that's been sent out of this country and the money that's been taken off you would suggest to me that you're paying too much money towards these people that are fiscally and financially irresponsible and have shown you as such for the last number of years. You know? Crazy. People swinging both ways on the Katie Hopkins thing. They're like, nah, I don't like her, and others are like, yeah, no, fair play to her. Listen, a broken clock can be right twice a day, you know? Darkman says, Ninja said it respectively again, take a drink, folks. He's keeping on that. He's keeping on that. Fair play to him. Irish women are the best, says Derek McManus. Absolutely, 100%. Stoic Savage says, big mosque being built in Blanche. People don't realise what's going on here at all. They really don't. Heroes 22 says, hi Ninja. Demlot says, I'm 51, no problem here. See you here. Yeah, the books as well too are getting bounced out of libraries, like the likes of the Swords Library, I think it was. Now they're starting to be like, oh my god, I can't believe there's an inquest on and all that, and people were let in that far right, and they're going, oh, hang on here for a second, guys. It seems to be like you people are on the wrong side every single time. It seems like it again. Your hard drives should be definitely checked there if you're supporting this sort of stuff that's been aimed towards kids. We just want equality. You've gone down the slippery slope pretty quickly. Hugh is saying the censorship on Twitter hasn't changed under Musk. I don't know. I think it has a little bit, but don't forget as well, by the way, there's still a woman that got a court injunction that's hanging around Ireland that's running the show there. So look into that one is what I would say. Different story when it comes to other places. Other places seem to be having a little bit more joy, but here in Ireland we seem to be still under the same problems. Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, have you ever seen Chuck Schumer's wife, Papa Doubtfire? And his niece is Amy Schumer, by the way. That's how she's in the gig that she's in. Funny that, isn't all the familial ties that they have over there. Let's have a look now through the chat there now and see what else is going on. Yeah, like I said, if you haven't got the chance yet, lads, go and see John Wick. It's deadly. Jason Irish Red says, Ninja Knight, are we gonna even allowed to call him Mr. Blobby anymore? They damn Blobby. Yes, CST said another good one there as well. Robert Kennedy Jr. is coming through. Would like to see him do well. Definitely. The Robert Kennedy thing is going to be interesting because I saw a couple of different people that were trying to already discredit him. And I'm like, I tell you what, lads, if I was him, I would make sure I'd have as much security around me 24/7 in the next couple of years because you're going to need it. You know, when you realize what happened to the family there, I think that family, you know, look, they have their own problems. They have had their own problems in the past. But when you see all the stuff surrounding that family and some of the things that they wanted to do, which was for the betterment of the world, I would say. Some people might say, well, no, they're in on that and maybe they went against the grain on it. But when you see Robert Kennedy Jr. be as consistent as he has been over the last few years, I quite like him. Now, again, I've no skin in the race or anything like that. I've no... there's nothing in there for me. I just want to see people held accountable. And I mean... maybe he might bring that forward. It'd be interesting to see. I do think that your man in California, though, the Democrats will definitely try and push him, that Newsom character, for sure. He's way up there for them, you know. And after what they did as well, there, what was it, 2 years ago now, they'll do it again. They'll try and keep Robert Kennedy as far away from this as possible. Far away from it as possible, because they don't want him on primetime television talking about what he's going to talk about. They definitely don't want that. DLBIA 95, did you ever watch Question Time? It's scary. It's like a play school full of kids shouting over each other instead of people who are meant to run a country correctly. It's a very accurate comment, and it was the same way when Vincent Brown used to run his show. You'd have them on and they'd be talking and they'd be shouting all over each other, and you're going like, this is absolute mayhem here. It's pure nothing mayhem. And these are people that are supposed to be running the show. Now, I understand that if you're supposed to be running things, you probably are going to be like that. But like, some of them couldn't even answer questions. Some of them still don't. That was something that was said to me actually not too long ago. It was, if you're able to deflect something for a minute and a half, you're able to get away from whatever the question is. That's one thing that's impressive about the likes of Gript, is that like when Ben asks a question, he says to them like the initial question and lets them spoof, and then he's like, "No, that's not what I asked you. I asked you was this." It's great. I mean, but simple journalism, it's something that's a forgotten art now amongst most of them, and it's one dude that's able to just kind of shine light on and go, "Look what the others are doing." You know. Brown Reedy says, "Ninja Knight, I said worse towards lads." I could say worse awards. I could say worse awards. Imagine being given that position by Micheál Martin. Unreal. Steve Dixon says Derek Boy charged with stealing a €4 free T-shirt. Absolutely ridiculous. That's the lengths that they're going to, though. You know, absolute lengths that they're going to. People fleecing the country worth millions there, and they're like, yeah, man, I see things differently, and I think maybe that was something that was, you know, it's entertainment as well too, isn't it? Really, when you look at it, like that was seeded in me a long time ago. The Christopher Nolan's trilogy. One of the brilliant things that he did was that he had Bruce Wayne. Now, this is when he was interested in obviously writing the Bruce Wayne character, because after the fourth movie, the Bruce Wayne character got pushed to the side, particularly the Batman character. I understand with the Joker. The Joker's an interesting moral dilemma and complex there. But when Bruce used to, when Bruce in the initial part of the film was all about, no, criminals, not that, and then he's like, never understood criminals until these people stole to eat, to feed themselves, to keep themselves alive. And I was like, that's a very interesting point, you know? But that's a completely different thing than what he ended up doing then, which was he was taking on organizations that were up to no good, you know, and in particular, the corruption. That's, I think, where the Joker stepped in and did a little bit more with that sort of stuff, you know. That's just, I think Nolan's trilogy is brilliant, particularly the third one I didn't really like, but the commentary throughout I thought was very astute, as on Nolan films are. OH says Ninja Knight was researching the fake healthcare credentials that immigrants have used to get jobs in hospitals in other countries. There's a few of them that were doing surgeries and stuff like that. You know, what was your man there recently? There, a fella from India that was an optician or something like that, but the license was out by 10 years or something. That. CSC says infectious laugh ninja. Thank you very much. Have a look now. The Dirty Lamb, it says Aidan Fletcher. That's a cracker. Have a look now as well. True. Let's go. The chat is absolutely on the level tonight. They're absolutely flying. Sugar lumps, yeah. Be different if you call them something completely different there. Hey, Chinaman. Oh my god, it's this the fob. You're being shown a viewpoint to view everything through that type of idea, and that is ridiculous. BFC says, thank you, moderators, Ninja, and everyone. Salon, Phenomenal Murkis is a very good Ninja. John Max is allegedly spectively. BFC says, yes, block all alerts, spectively, allegedly. CST says, allegedly, spectively. Beth Baldwin says, take care all. Good night, God bless us all through the precious blood of our Lord and Saviour. Viva Cristo Rey. Amen. Freddie says, what do you think of WYHA podcast? Haven't heard of that. WYHA? No, I haven't heard of that. Steve Dixon says, Ninja Knight, thanks yet again for a great conversation. Much appreciated. Karen Bourne says, another great show. Thanks, Ninja and Ninja's chat. Thank you. Thanks indeed. Derek Manis says, I'll organise a meeting for the end of May or the end of June. Let me know which suits folks best. John Max says, 2 women assaulted in Waterford. One of them, Garvin, was arrested for a partner. Attacker was an immigrant. Gardaí claimed she faked it and tried to make her sign a statement saying it never occurred. Yikes. Not good there at all. What was it as well too? There was another one during the week story that came out, and I was like, the inflection point is coming soon. There was 2 women or something that got onto a train with the kids, and there was one woman with her bags on the seat, lacking any sort of manners. That really annoys me. It does. And the woman wasn't from this country, obviously, and the women were like, look, could you move the bags there? This is all what they said now from their side of the story. And your woman went mental. She was calling them mystophobes and all this and everything. But that's what's going to wake more people up than anything else. Like, sure, people tuning into this might wake up and see things and they go, all right, yeah. But personal experiences are going to be even more so. I've had my own personal experiences. Like I said, I have friends from different countries and all like that, and lovely guys and women and that. And then like you meet people in shops and all like that are a bit too big for their boots, and you have to call them on it. Like I just say, where do you think you are? Where do you think you are? You know, and they're looking and going, what? And I go, no, I won't be doing that. No thanks. So that's just how I deal with things, peacefully, respectfully, and just no. Where do you think you are? XLATVX says can't send money, asking for email password, can't remember it. Fair play to you. I know that. Passwords and emails, mental. Let's have a look now. Yeah, Sean Mack with a good comment there. The fluoride in the water makes people docile. Look it up online. It does. And another thing as well too is Ireland has a massive problem with lime scale, like in your kettles and your taps and all that. I've noticed that as well. A lot of people are getting filters and stuff for that, which I think is a good idea and all that. It's something that's not an American drinking water, by the way. There's no fluoride there. So I like that. I actually knew a fella that was mad to get toothpaste with fluoride in it, and I was like, what's the story of that? I don't get that at all. But anyway, that was his bag, and I said, look, it's up to you. Toastbud says, Ninja Knight, talk about Farmers Alliance on Matt Lown. Do you know what? I'd probably do, Toastbud, I'll probably do a video on that just to get that more attention, but just as a quick aside, obviously, thanks for bringing that up. The farmers are getting together here now in Ireland, and that's important, and it's something that I said a long time ago. I think probably about 7 months ago, I said like the farmers would want to get together because at the time they were telling them that they were going to pay, if I remember correctly, I think it was in the 20 grand a cow if they culled a cow. So like it's a quick buck for sure, but it's going to run out pretty quickly then. And farmers now obviously are looking at it and are going, hang on here, the Green Party are going overdrive here with us. And now they're starting to come back and say, no, we're not having this. Also will say what the Dutch did in Holland, or the Netherlands as they're also called, them taking seats there is really important. And I think our own are starting to see that too. And like I said, and I keep saying it, you know, the likes of tribalism and what we've had here in this country, particularly between Gaelic football teams and inter-county football as such, that's at an end. Because what Ireland needs now is, Ireland needs a John Dutton, you know, like from Yellowstone. We need a rural fella that's going to be like, nah, I'm not having any of this here. Based Republican, based patriot, based nationalist. That's what we need right now, and a money man in particular, and multiples of them. You know, that's what I think we need for sure. Conor McGregor stuck his foot in it there during the week by welcoming Joe into Ireland. I was like, does this fella think that I'm still run the show, or what's the story? Because if he's welcoming Joe, that's a very big faux pas. Sean Max, and he got riddled, but he got absolutely roasted in the chat then as well too. He got lit up. Justin Timberlake got lit up in the chat as well too over some of the comments he's been making over the last few days. Apparently, some genius arrived at some other house and tried to enter the house, even though the house didn't look anything like the house that his brother was in, the house that he knew. Weird that, innit? Anyway, Sean Max says, Ninja Knight, did you see Tyson Fury's video online talking about all the illegal immigrants, men coming into Britain and they cannot house their British homeless but can accommodate all these men in hotels? Yeah. Tyson Fury's great. Big fan of him. I'm a huge fan of Tyson Fury. And also, he's a guy that's well awake to what's going on. And after every bout that he has, he always says, massive praise to my Lord and Saviour and our Lord and Saviour. And it's something I really like about him. And also with the media as well. The media recently tried to pull him over in his van and they were asking him like questions. And he says, are you a follower of our Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ? And they were like, no. He says, no, I'm not talking to you, so. Just moved on. Esther McDonald says, stop buying Coca-Cola. Hugh says, stay away from the pubs. Nice Red says, Ninja Knight, I wonder how the people of Liverpool really feel about hosting the Eurovision Song Contest for the blue and yellow flag waving country. Oh, man. And stuff. Jason Red says, this concert for blue and yellow flag waving country next week is going to raise even more for them, even though most of them can still afford to pay for shopping with cards along with their vouchers. I got sent a story that someone was working, again, allegedly, spectively, in a, well, what would we say? A certain place that you're able to get food and drinks from. And one side was Irish homeless, and they were getting and again, this is all alleged, they were getting the likes of the Tesco own brand and the Lidl own brand and Aldi own brand. And then these people that were saying that they're from the yellow and blue flag waving country were getting Coca-Cola, Doritos, premium stuff, you know. And that was what was alleged and sent to me. So again, I've no confirmation of that. But That's what had been said with me. Let's have a look now here. Let's chat on for lads. I think I'm probably at the been about 40 minutes getting through here this evening. John Mack says RTE2FM on McDermott will be up in court in October. That'd be an interesting one to see now how that one pans out. I'd be interested to see which judge will be involved in that. If it's Martin Nolan, people are going to be having a field day before they're even kicks off. Leanne Corder says, Iho what agus a cut of sobbed in tonight. Agus got in and go rev my good. Great chat and stream. Have a safe and blessed weekend. You too. Alan Murko says we're talking about in Clondalkin there. Yeah, there's more to that there. There's always more to it. There's always more to these things than meets the eye. Sheepdogs of foreigners are saying there's too many foreigners in Ireland. I kid you not. They actually are. There's a Spanish guy that's online on Twitter, and he's like, there's way too much. And then even Americans that are here are like, Ireland's not Ireland anymore. I'm like, good. These people are starting to wake up to it too. I think other people will also. Martin McAlonan says, aluminium, chloride, fluoride, face turquoise, drinking coffee. That's another one. Yeah, the aluminium there and things. Leanne Curtis says, Colin Archangel, Michael for protection and strength never feds. Do you know what? Actually, there was a guy that put up, and just talking as an aside here about toys and stuff like that. There's a guy that did a line there recently called Almighty Legends that had the Archangels in it. And I was just like, yeah, back in that one. That's great. Archangels, happy to have them in the collection, you know. And he's done St. Gabriel and he's done Azrael. And the plan is to do St. Michael and St. Raphael. So I'm looking forward to those ones, but definitely I'm looking forward to Gabriel and Azrael. They're it's great to have that sort of stuff, I think. And again, part of the faith, you know. Frank Barnes says, any new Philip videos? Philip has a new channel. His name, just you type in his name and it's there. So he's basically saying he's going to see how long it goes. That's what he's saying. So hopefully it stays up as long as possible. But I think hopefully he moves on to Rumble as well too and promotes Rumble. I think that's important because you can live stream on Rumble now. Once you have 5 subscribers on Rumble, you can live stream there. That's what Rumble said to me. So might start doing Rumble live streams as well. Anyway, Frank Barnes says, yeah, he's asked me about Philip. Derek Mann says, more than meets the eye. Nice Transformers reference there, Ninja. Absolutely. Love that. Okay, anyway, guys, let you know. Subscribe to Philip. His new channel's out there. That's him. He put it out on Twitter the other day, so that is him. Thanks very much to everybody that's been in here listening to me. There's over 140 people in here listening nearly 3 hours. I really appreciate that. I know it's time taking out your week. I humbly and very respectfully appreciate the time that you give to this channel and the people in the chat, the mods, and everyone that supports as well too, and that's looking at the different social media platforms that I have. Hugely, hugely appreciative of that. Look after yourselves. Have a good weekend. Enjoy yourselves and make sure you keep the faith. Because here's the thing, guys, we're on the final stretch now. These people don't have very much runway to go with anymore, and reality is coming back into play, and it's long overdue. Great to see. Love it. Look after yourselves. Talk to you next week, and I'm going to be dropping a couple of videos during the week, and I'm sure I'll see you there. Good luck.